Hello, good evening, everyone, to a wonderful day of XENA Family. Today, we are going to start with our MC. Before she starts, let me give her a brief introduction. Our MC today is Ms. Dr. Poonam Arora. Dr. Poonam Arora has retired from a long academic career in the humanities at institutions in the US, the Middle East, and India. She has turned her attention to the larger questions of peace, social responsibility, and activism over the last few years. Her training in literature, film, and cultural studies now seeks to address real life psychosocial, political, and artistic domains to elevate our collective quality of life. She received her school and college education at Delhi Public School, Mathura Road, and St. Stephen's College, Delhi. As Senior Vice President at XENA Global Family Foundation and XENA World, she is focused on building a strong civil society committed to addressing the problems of contemporary India within a post-COVID and global context. She is currently working on a book tentatively titled The Indic Liberal Arts for the 21st Century, Policy Prospects and the Problematics. Over to you, ma'am. Dr. Poonam Arora.
Thank you, Manjari. I'm delighted to be introduced by you, someone as distinguished and as committed as you are to the XENA world. Good afternoon, fellow XENA members. We're assembled here today at today's event to undertake a rather ambitious task, to look back on what we've attempted in the 6 nonprofit chapters that have been active this year in the organization, and to move forward with a true hindsight in mind. Let our hindsight give us 2020 vision for the coming events. Let me list the 6 active chapters of our organization: XENA International Foundation, XENA Outreach Foundation, XENA Global Family Foundation, XENA World Care Foundation, and XENA Next Gen Foundation. In addition, and XENA Soul Connect Foundation. In addition, I'll list the 4 for-profit chapters: XENA World Care Private Limited, XENA Connect LLP, XENA Global Family LLP, and XENA World. As I said, we will look back, but we cannot do that to see who's closing in on us, as though we were in a race, rather than understanding where we may have strayed from the path, what we have learned from the path we have traversed, and to move forward with confidence, with intentionality, and with humility. There has been a tacit criticism of our programming, and I would be the first to take this critique up. Our program appeared to be random and disconnected. One week we were discussing weaving patterns in a patola fabric. The next week we were talking of the food habits and healing practices of the indigenous Lapcha tribe of the northeast of India. And another week we were speaking of the medical myths that prevail in our population. I too wondered if we were not straying too far from our vision of identifying the pain points of our society and intending to alleviate this pain in our social, psychological, and political contexts. This event is meant to tie these loose threads into a complex, multidimensional, and vibrant tapestry that holds a mirror to our existence in the 21st century in India, with multifarious connections to a global and multi-layered society. Just as the coronavirus knows no geographic, epidemiological, and national boundaries, so our problems and their solutions transcend the local and reverberate around the world. Not just the epidemic, but every problem that we face and the solution that we attempt as individuals has implications both internally and externally. This internal dimension may be centered within the psychosocial makeup of an individual, but it extends outward within her nuclear family, within her neighborhood, within her village or city, within her nation, and the world at large. This is the true meaning of Krishna's word in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabho matam sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhave samanvitaha. And I'll translate. I am the origin of all creation. Everything proceeds from me. Only the enlightened will understand this perfectly, and therefore he or she can worship me with true devotion. Unquote. Keeping Lord Krishna's perspective in mind, Zena has self-consciously blurred the sharp boundaries between the ego-driven profit/pleasure-seeking individual and the well-being of the community she is embedded within. At times, our programming started from the outward and moved inward. At other times, it started from the unitary and moved to the universal. The two movements, of course, are inseparable and simultaneous. Here is the summation of the interconnected themes we have decided to highlight for the coming year that we're calling the confluence of minds and future directions of the XENA global family. First, build a new, healthy, and joyful post-COVID world, returning to examine the deeper meaning of our indigenous arts, elevating social practices to a level of the sacred, and revitalizing rituals of harvesting, food, cooking, hospitality, etc. 2, education, citizenship, and genuine representational democracy for self-determination. The new education policy, NEP 2020, issued by the Government of India earlier this year, will be the backdrop to these deliberations. 3, developing habits of environmental conservation, sustainability, and renewal. This is part of conscious citizenship, methods of informal and co-curricular alternative education, and the fashioning of new meaningful rituals of collective commitment. All these will strengthen our environmental conservation goals. And 4, attracting and inducting next generation participants into our agenda and seeking to assign them leadership roles. Us old fogies have to give way to a new and radical way of functioning in a technologically savvy, socially engaged, and idealistic youth movement that is truly global in its worldview. This generation has risen above the hardened categories of caste, gender, and class that we must pay close attention to. Suputra and Suputri are not dutiful sons and daughters who slavishly follow outmoded traditions, but rather those that have found new ways of being in the world. We are devoting lion's share of today's event to reports from our 6 not-for-profit entities. The other 4 for-profit will become active starting April 2022. My task is not only to attempt to stitch these together, show you the less visible seams that have stitched them together thus far, but to project the future collaborations and invisible connections that can be reinforced. This will call for deep introspection, maturity, and dare I say, imagination. Having come to know the leaders of our organization over the last year and a half, and understanding the plans and aspirations of our founder and mastermind, Rajiv Anand, I have immense faith in our mission and our future direction. I don't mean to sound boastful, but it is beginning to appear that our prospects of building a formidable, ambitious, and successful organization are strong indeed. Let us strive to be altruistic, utopian, and selfless in our efforts. Let us put our best foot forward, continue to inspire each other, and learn from the thinking of the next generation people in the forthcoming year, inshallah. these are my opening remarks, and I will now give you a sense of how this event will unfold. I'm going to ask our technical facilitator, the WizKid Sushim Sudhe, to play the recorded message of the pregonero, Chandramohan Nautiyal. Over to you, Sushim.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me introduce to all of you Dr. Chandramohan Nautiyal. Dr. Chandramohan Nautiyal is a well-known scientist and a science communicator. After BSc Honours in Physics from Meerut and MSc Physics from University of Roorkee, now IIT Roorkee, he completed PhD at PRL Ahmedabad, that is Physical Research Laboratory Ahmedabad. He was a scientific collaborator for the study of lunar samples brought during Apollo and Luna missions. He is Fellow of Geological Society of India, NCSTC Network, that is National Council for Science and Technology Communication Network, and Social Earth Scientists. In addition to INSA Medal, that is Indian National Science Academy Medal for Young Scientist 88, Travel Award from Meteorological Society USA, and INSA DFG Fellowship. DFG is basically German Research Foundation. He is a recipient of about a dozen other honors and awards. He has been member of many science committees, including National Commission Archaeological Sciences, and was a convener of NCSTC Network. He superannuated from Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleo Sciences, Lucknow, which is an institution of the Department of Science and Technology. In 2016, as scientist in charge of radiocarbon laboratory. On invitation, he has visited many countries including France, UK, USA, Germany, Switzerland, South Africa, Russia, and Vietnam. At present, he is consultant science communication to Indian National Science Academy, that is INSA, New Delhi. He is also member Board of Studies, Chaudhary Charan Singh University, Meerut, Vice President Vibha, Awadh Prant, Chairman NCSC UP. NCSC is National Children Science Congress. Member Local Advisory Committee RSC Lucknow, Management Committee MR Jaipuria College and Indus Valley School Lucknow. Advisor Breakthrough Science Society Kolkata UP Chapter. Chairperson NCSC UP East. Member Executive Vigyan Parishad Prayag as via Antrangi. Club of Lucknow, Vice President Bharatiya Bhasha Pratishthapan Rashtriya Parishad UP. He is also a member of the Publication Committee Vigyan Prasar, a DST institution, and member of American Association Advanced Science USA. PSCT Network, that is Public Commission of Science and Technology, and corresponding member Palcom, Switzerland. We at this forum are honored to have him as a speaker.
Sir, you may kindly give your speech.
Thank you so much. It's really nice to have an introduction like this. Thank you so much for this kind introduction. Dear Zena fraternity, it's a pleasure and honor to be among you and talking to you on this occasion. We know that the last 2 years have been very challenging for the whole humankind. Never before in the last 100 years, humanity or this world faced such a serious problem. But this has also been a time for introspection. We have been asking ourselves many questions. What is it that we value in our life? What is it that life means? What is the value of life? How important are the relationships? And as you know, that XENA stands for how we feel good about each other, how we help each other, how we develop empathy, how we develop friendship, how we help each other, and we grow into better human beings than what we were before. So I think last 2 years have been helping us to realize that the philosophy of XENA is also really very, very relevant to our lives. These 2 years have been years of turmoil. Many people have lost their lives, their jobs, their places. Many people have received shocks. But as you would realize that after every such experience, humankind appears and emerges stronger than what it was before. And this has been the history of mankind. Not that man has won over nature or has defeated nature, but the fact is that after every such conflict with nature, humankind emerges stronger. And that is a lesson for us to learn. The clashes have been very common. 100 years ago, there was Spanish flu. 100 years after that, and in between, we have had many such skirmishes with diseases, with viruses, with bacteria. But every time we have found a way how to defeat them. And this indomitable spirit of humankind is where we lie our hope and our faith. They say that faith moves mountains. We are not aiming at moving mountains, but we are trying to make some small little steps, some small changes that change the face of the humankind, even if by a small increment. We don't change the whole world together, but we should have a wish to improve it. As somebody said, that if we are not part of the solution, we are a part of the problem. And this is something we must realize. In the XENA fraternity, many of us have been doing great things. Some have been doing not so great things, but by consensus, by talking to each other and by a process which is fully democratic, we have been able to identify some people who have had their share in making this world a little better, a shade better. And when many of us follow that example, perhaps this world would be a better place. Otherwise, we can shriek, we can rant, we can shout, we can complain, and the world doesn't change. So let us be part of the solution, and let us identify and appreciate those who have been working very hard in their own capacities, in their own ways to make this world better. And such names will be announced very soon. And I would now request Dr. Arora, Dr. Poonam Arora, to please take over and go ahead with the proceedings. Thank you very much for a very patient listening.
Thank you, Dr. Nautiyal. Your words are sobering as well as encouraging. Indeed, we face an entirely new post-COVID world. Over the last year and a half, have been bringing our attention back to the pandemic, even as it appears to recede. Because in facing this challenge, we have the opportunity to rethink the world, to rethink our interdependence, to rethink our collaborations, and to rethink what kind of society we want to live in. Gone are the days when we could just pursue our individual aspirations, our individual goals, and celebrate our individual achievements. Even the most successful people have faded in the light of this COVID. We have lost loved ones. We have not been able to save ourselves from the virus. So what exactly should this world look like? Does the achievement of 7 billion individuals really lead to a better world? No, it doesn't. Because my success comes at the expense of your success. And this equation has to be rethought. I believe that in focusing on some of the select themes that we've chosen, we can indeed build a more interdependent, interconnected, and collectively moving forward world, not where the success of one comes at the expense of the other. If this is one lesson we can learn from everything that we are trying to achieve, we will have taken a very big stride. So let me just talk about how this event will proceed. We've lost some time. We may be able to compress some things, but the highlights will remain the same. So right after Mr. Naveen Jaggi's keynote address, which will be the conclusion of the first session, we will have the second session. Here, we will have the reports prepared by designated people on each of the 6 nonprofit organizations that are part of XENA. Arundhati Chakrabarti will speak about XENA Next Gen Foundation. Mohana Chattopadhyay will speak about XENA Global Family Foundation. Professor Vinay Pandey will speak about XENA Outreach Foundation. Dr. Nandini Sethi will speak about XENA World Care Foundation. And now that Fatima Khanum is back with us after some hours and days of uncertainty, we look forward to hearing from her on XENA Soul Connect Foundation. And finally, Dr. Anil Kumar will speak about XENA International Foundation. This is the crux of our program. We will have a third session, which will be the award ceremony, which will be introduced and the awards given away by Mr. Amitabh Pathak. Lastly, we will have words by Mr. Joydeep Sengupta. Vote of thanks by Mr. Neeraj Yajnik, the XENA anthem towards the second last event. And finally, words of goodbye by Meena Tilak Raj in Punjabi. And I will say a lot more about this because one of the central themes of our education enterprise going forward is the concept of multilingualism. How can we unify a nation of 35 languages and hundreds of dialects into a cohesive entity? We cannot do this without an education in multilingualism and the practice of multilingualism. So we have started this practice of having some part of our event in one or the other language of our nation. So in that context, Ms. Meena Tilak Raj will give a word of goodbye in Punjabi. So this is the flow.
Didi, before you proceed, vision document, you have to ask Sushim to play, please.
I will introduce Sushim now as one of our whiz kids and what I'm referring to as Generation Next, our future leaders before whom we will take, from whom we will at one point take instructions. Sushim is a student of class 8th at Tagore International School in South Delhi. And by the way, my own interaction with Tagore International School tells me it's one of the finest institutions in the city, indeed in the country. He's an ardent artist, likes to paint. He has various mediums at his disposal. He's passionate about what's happening in the war zones of the world. And he is very active as a game developer. So you can see that Sushim is what we have always called an all-rounder. In this age of specialization, when every person knows just a very little bit of what he knows in a deep way, we need all-rounders like Sushim. He's an excellent swimmer, football player, good actor. He has created a movie for a film festival of India. He recently played the role of Ram Prasad Bismil for a school's Independence Day celebration. The achievements go on and on. Sushil, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
XENA World Vision Document. We are a family bringing joy, happiness, prosperity in our lives and around by nurturing, encouraging, catalyzing, enabling 360-degree well-being in physical, intellectual, emotional, social, and economic dimensions. Our vision: abundance of joy, happiness, care, and prosperity for all. Our mission: we strive for alleviating pain, suffering, and poverty, encouraging unshackled-free thoughts, enabling dignified jobs and livelihood, nurturing close family bonding, seeking joy and happiness in the impact caused. Our values: passion, work with passion and from heart. Our values: humility, learning attitude, mutual respect, and open to listening to others. Our values: integrity, sincere, honest, and ethical principles. Our values: empathy, understand and feel others as your own. Our values: humanity, have compassion, brotherhood, fellow feeling, and kindness. Our values: joy, work that brings joy and value, diversity and inclusion. Our character: trust, belief, faith, and confidence in self and in others, from where love and compassion emanate. Our character: virtue, high moral values, patience, consideration, trustworthiness, and forgiveness. Our character: transparency, honesty, openness, and not guarded. Thank you.
Taking over, it's my now immense pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Naveen Kumar Jaggi. And it's my great honor to introduce a person I've come to know recently, but one I look forward to knowing more and getting to learn from him. Mr. Jaggi, an advocate by profession.
No, please, nothing. I'll be very grateful, Mr. Rajiv, if there's nothing really worth saying anything about me. If you forgive me and I'm allowed to break the protocol, I would request you. I mean, there's nothing that I've contributed to society or the community or the world at large that is worth mentioning. May I start? I had planned a speech. But like they say, man proposes, God disposes. Am I clear on the screen? It's very important that my facial expression and my countenance may be noticed. Am I clear on the screen?
Yes, sir.
You're clear on the screen.
Yes, clear.
Thank you, sir. I'd planned a speech, verbose, rhetoric, and a tribute and singing a paean in honor of Rajiva Anand, Mr. Rajiva Anand. But I've forgotten all that. I'll share with you why. But before I start, Mr. Rajiva Anand, can you see what dress I'm wearing today, the color of my attire? Mr. Rajiva Anand, are you there? Are you?
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. Yes.
I'm wearing brown, sir. I said before the year ends, I must fulfill your wish. But that apart, there was a young lad here yesterday with me, and I was interested and wanting to speak to him. And I told him, and I thought I'll kill two birds with one stone. I'll wear a brown dress, brown attire, and also teach you something. But that young lad, at the last minute, he gave me not only goosebumps, goose pimples, let me down so badly that I was expecting him to be here half an hour earlier so that we'd have everything planned. But no value for time, no respect for age, merit I don't have, so I don't blame him for that. But everything went all right. That's the time when I thought, Mr. Rajiva Anand, what a Herculean task, what a well-nigh impossible task you have undertaken, trying to get together people. It's so difficult to get one lad on board. And here you manage all over the world, the nooks and crannies of the world, to collect all people, all important people, minus the one addressing you now. What a Herculean task. Hats off to you. I promise you, I would not mention your name, Mr. Rajiv, but I cannot. It's not me who's beholden to you, the entire XENA family, the 6 non-profit with whom I'm concerned vicariously or in any manner, all of them are indebted to you for having brought us together. An impossible task. I was totally disheartened. I didn't know what to speak because I was upset. I get upset when something goes, when there's disrespect for punctuality, discipline, disregard for a planned program without any major reason. Till I heard Dr. Poonam Arora's speech, that speech, that address, all the spoken in mild terms, charged me up. And I realized it's not worth waiting for somebody you want to create, build into a winner, build into a leader, build into a conqueror, build into somebody who will give back to the society and the community and the world at large. It's not worth it. So we have to choose our path also. And that path, which I'd lost sight of, came back to me, the vision came back to me after I heard Dr. Poonam Arora. Right? We have to now work out a situation where it is not my success depends on your success. We must go to pre-1914, before the First World War and before the Spanish flu, when life was a lot more peaceful and people were more kind, more adjusting, they thought of the well-being of others. That is where we have to go. And it is possible with a team like the founding members, the team collected by Mr. Rajiv Anand, the magician that he is, that he has created, it's possible that we'll achieve our success. And Mr. Dr. Poonam Arora, this is no compliment to you, but you really, what I admire about you is the veracity with which you spoke and addressed that we were having all diametrically opposite, dichotomy, different, and you've been able to embroider them into a beautiful necklace. Your words, your thoughts, and so simplistically and so beautifully put. Yes, Mr. Rajiv Anand, your dream, your creation, will not be, will be, it shall become a reality because you have a team and people like that. I see Mr. Sanjay Prasad. Wake up, Mr. Sanjay Prasad, you're sleeping. Oh, Mr. Sanjay Prasad. Why don't, good to see a smile from you. Good to see a smile from you. Arundhati smiling, good. Dr. Professor Vinay Pandey, sir. What I wanted to speak, that's changed. But by and large, I totally endorse what Dr. Poonam Arora said, we must get. And I'm totally impressed by the way our thought process, our vision was projected on the screen. Mr. Rajiv Anand, hats off to you and a sincere, honest, heartfelt gratitude that you visually placed all that I thought a XENA World Family, non-profit family group should be. I'm indebted to you that you respected many of my feelings and emotions, even at the cost of them being non-practical and non-pragmatic. Thank you very much for still upholding those visions. I have no words to say. I'm cutting short, but it's been a great 2.5 years. Although I'm very sad that this time, last year, of course, Mrs. Priyanka Manjari had an excuse not to send me a Christmas cake. But this year, I'm surprised. Well, how could she miss it? I too remind her, you've forgotten us, out of sight, out of mind. Mrs. Priyanka Manjari, a gift toss in the mouth. I hope you'll remember to present me Christmas cake next time, as you've been doing earlier. Thank you very much, all who are on the screen. And if this address has been a meaningless address, a meandering, labyrinthian path, nonsensical in its content, I seek your forgiveness. But I'm very happy and proud after hearing you, Dr. Poonam Arora, and after seeing the visuals that Mr. Rajiv Anand showed us, our vision and our views. And it's great, Arundhati Chakravarti, Dr. Pandey, and that young boy. That's great. Yes, Mrs. Priyanka Manjari, I can see you. Christmas cake is missing this year. Okay, next year, no excuse. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Naveen Jaggi. Let me just pick up one little theme from his talk. This idea that a ritual gift is made every year on a certain occasion, come what may, whether it is kheer made on Purnamashi or Amavas, whether it is prasad given at a Shiv temple, whether it is celebrations of Eid. The thing is not what is given. The emphasis is that come what may, it is repeated. The re of ritual and the re of ritu. That means the ritu, the season that returns, come what may. The re is the important thing, not the content of what we do, but that we do it repeatedly as a ritual, as a riti, as a ritu returns over and over again. And every time that circle is repeated, it becomes magnified. So the fact that we have this event on every Sunday afternoon, not the content of it, but that it happens every Sunday, come what may. Rajiv, hats off to you. Okay, so I'm only just reinforcing that which Mr. Jaggi just said. It's not the content of what we do, but that we do it repeatedly. Okay.
Thank you.
May I start with session 2 now? Okay. Sushim, are you ready? We're going to call upon Arundhati Chakravarti to give a report on the XENA Gen Next Foundation. And let me introduce
Didi, just one correction. People are
Mhm.
getting very psyched up by
Mhm.
your professor language of report. She's saying, I'm not going to sit in this exam. If she just tells me to speak, I'll speak.
Yeah, take it as you will. We just want to hear from you, whether it's a report or a review or just your thoughts as you string them together. You're a very smart woman. I trust that you'll make great sense. Arundhati Chakravarti is a young woman with a deep interest in lifelong learning. She did her schooling from Delhi Public School, Basant Kunj, New Delhi. She went to pursue her BSc Honours in Physics from St. Stephen's College, University of Delhi. She has had a multifarious interest and passion encompassing music, dance, sports, maneuvered by the pursuit of holistic education. This is a favorite word of mine, holistic education. Her keen interest in the fundamentals of knowledge and thinking about thinking, epistemology, lead her to pursue an MA in philosophy at St. Stephen's College. Currently, Arundhati is at University College London, pursuing her second master's in philosophy. She's an integral part of the XENA Next Gen Foundation, and her life's motto is service before self. And I know where that comes from. It's the motto of Delhi Public. Over to you, Arundhati.
Thank you so much for such a generous introduction. It is indeed an honor for me to be present here, and more so in representing the XENA Gen Next Foundation. Unfortunately, I'm a bit down with some cold, but I shall try and make the most of this opportunity. So let me begin by stating outright our vision. And simply put, it is unshackled growth of children's mind. Since it involves the word shackled, or unshackled actually, I thought it would be good to start by trying to understand the word shackled. And immediately what comes to my mind are the words of one of the great political philosophers, Rousseau. And here I quote, "Man is born free, but everywhere is in chains." I'll repeat that. Man is born free, but everywhere is in chains. He said this in the 18th century, and maybe someone might have had similar ideas and thoughts much before as well. Yet we are here in the 21st century, still pondering over the same thing with a bit of different words. Human beings are born free, yet always in chains. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to imagine or put forth an argument towards building a society having absolute free will. Why? Well, that would lead to chaos. Just like we have the traffic lights not working, leading to a chaos at any junction, there is always a particular design by which the moderation of traffic happens. And in this example, I would like to focus on an important aspect. It is not the case that the red signal persists for the same amount of time for all the directions of movement. Some have longer signals and some of them have shorter ones. And time is the most important factor in order to not result into a chaos in near future. Now that I have laid the foundation for what I want to talk about, let us get back to the vision. So we want to talk about the unshackling and the timing in the context of growth of children's mind. Research world over tells us that the mind is extremely fertile till a certain age, generally agreed upon by the age of 7. There are a few things which we cannot pick up after this phase. For example, we can pick up a language very easily till the age of 5. And slowly, we lose this innate capacity of picking up language or linguistic abilities. For example, I might try to pick up, let's say, Malayalam, but I can never reach the level of fluency with which a native would be speaking. It has also been proven that children learn best in an environment wherein we feel encouraged. have freedom to express ourselves and bring out our innate creativity. And this is the environment we want to create and further enhance at the XENA Gen Next Foundation. The most fundamental aspect is to assist children. And here I shall take the liberty to broaden the domain in order to include the youth, the future of the country, the nation, the globe, to grow according to their natural design. And this means without force, without deprivation, and without a negative or a discouraging environment. The most important pillar of growth is education. And this takes place at all levels, infancy through maturity, as well as decline. Today, we as a nation are already working in the direction of improvising and updating our education system, especially with the new education policy. But it takes years of efforts to bring about educational reforms, and more so at such a large scale. What I would like to highlight as the motto of the XENA Gen Next Foundation is to create an environment of studying, education, growth, but without syllabus. How often we have found ourselves finishing reading a book or two or maybe three on the side, even though the course book is not even, let us say, half covered. And that's the difference of studying with the syllabus and without the syllabus. Because the latter is where we feel more comfortable, self-paced, interested, attracted, and above all, free. And that is exactly where we can find the expression of our imagination and explore our own creativity. If this sounds too broad and infinite a canvas to paint on, let me wind up by drawing a finite picture so that it feels more closer to reality. Every movement has a direction of growth. And as discussed earlier, without a design, there shall be complete chaos. The intelligent design in the unshackled growth of children's mind is that we need to nurture and allow growth according to the individual's natural design, but also supply a social direction to the child's achievement. That is our motive, giving back to society. Let us make a difference. And if I can show you my cup of coffee, together we can. And herein I shall rest my case today. Thank you so much.
I am a big admirer of yours. Let me just say that out front. Let me also give a little example.
Didi, just I'll give you an input because Mohana and Nandita has still not logged in. We have 3 speakers already logged in: Fatima, Professor Vinay Pandey, and Anil Kumar. Anil Kumar Shantanu Basu will come and then we can do it. But you can call upon Fatima first and then Professor Vinay Pandey.
I'll do that. Okay.
And Mohana has not logged in. So if you see that she does not log in, so you can skip.
Okay. Can I make an editorial comment on the last speaker? I'm going to take the liberty. I belong to a group of people online who are all physicists by training. They're all astrophysicists and they all talk about issues of, let's say, quantum physics, a subject that I absolutely don't understand. The last time I studied physics was in 8th grade, and I think I may have only just gotten a passing grade. But I'm fascinated by quantum physics, or all things quantum. So I asked these physicists online, who they're very, very distinguished scientists. You know, one of them is the director of the Tata Institute of fundamental research in Mumbai. You get the gist. Okay. So I asked them, where does physics connect with metaphysics? When will we arrive at a place where physics and metaphysics converge? And they all laughed at me and they said, it will never happen. We remain in the domain of physics, and metaphysics is beyond our purview. And so when I heard this person who's gone from physics to philosophy, the first time I met her, I thought to myself, this is the person that I need to follow. How could you take a leap from physics to philosophy? And yet, I want to say, how could you not take a leap from anything that you study to philosophy? The philosophy is the mother of all sciences, all knowledge. So when I see someone who takes a quantum leap, like from physics to philosophy, I am so heartened, because it is in this that we will stretch the domain of knowledge. And I'm so proud to get to know you. Let me now introduce Fatima. Fatima, since you disappeared earlier in the week, I was a bit nervous about your participation. I actually don't have an introduction for you. Let me just check. I do. Ms. Fatima Khanam, schooled at Delhi Public School, Arkipuram, finished her degree in applied psychology from Gargi College, Delhi. She is the president of IWC, Inner Wheel Delhi Cosmopolitan. She has held the position of Secretary, India Islamic Cultural Center, Delhi, and Ms. Khanam is the Joint Director for Public Relations Governing Council at XENA World since May 2019. Over to you, Fatima Khanam. Sushil, can you connect with Fatima Khanam? And Fatima, can you please unmute yourself?
Thank you so much, Poonam, for such a warm and short introduction. And XENA Soul Connect Foundation. It is about connecting your soul. We all are connected through various things in life, but our main purpose, our main objective of XENA Soul Connect, I will take you through. XENA Soul Connect Foundation, hereafter, which is called XSCF, will bring the diverse non-profit for profit activities of XENA under one board, an inclusive umbrella of artistic expression and global humanistic values. As India's National Education Policy 2020 has articulated, India as a society needs to revive, strengthen, and integrate the arts, not only into levels of our educational practice, but to infuse the arts into all the facets of our work, leisure, civic lives. One policy lays particularly emphasis on the development of creative potential of each individual. So we at XCFS will likewise infuse the arts into our endeavors in joyful, social, relevant, and contemporary fashion. Since so many of XENA's endeavors are going to be online and multimedia, as we can see, it's every Saturday, Sunday we fixed it. So we will introduce the participants to the history, evolution, and state-of-the-art of experiences of specific artistic mediums. Incorporate visual performatives, multimedia, and artisanal art forms into our programming. cultivate and appreciate for both traditional and classic forms of, well, as evolving mediums in keeping with our commitment to general linguistic, gender, and other differences. Challenge the trends towards the commercialization of art forms by providing educational and informal training in art appreciation. Break down the false binaries of distinctions between folk and high art that people have been perpetuated by self-serving market forces. Make art, its appreciation accessible to newcomers and non-experts. In conclusion, XSCF aims to encourage creativity and cultivate the inherent pleasure of artistic engagement to the growth of soul, the strengthening of community bounds, and the advancement of pluralistic humanity. Our mission of XENA Soul Connect Foundation is A, public trust to bring together all art forms around us. Connect like-minded artists and artisans to build appreciative inquiry in society. Support and sustain art and craft by think global, art local mindset, and vice versa. Making various art forms more Atmanirbhar and less patronage dependent. Our objectives of XENA Soul Connect Foundation aims to imprint and broaden the knowledge about and enjoyment of all art forms. It is the motive, the beginners, the support, the practitioners, and enlightenment, the newcomers, spreading and sharing and happiness that comes along with the appreciation of art forms. Utilizing global outreach, as you can see, we have a lot of participants throughout the world now connecting to XENA World and participating. So it envisages to reignite the love for the art and kindle the creative abilities with focus on both traditional and contemporary art forms. This is what XENA Soul Connect Foundation is. And with the kind of support and the kind of network we are having here, we will soon achieve all our objectives and complete our mission soon. So thank you so much, XENA World, for making it happen, for making it really happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatima. That was outstanding. Again, another subject after my heart, integrating the arts. I want to tell a little story. Reading a book, a recently published book. It's the annotated new edition of the Arabian Nights. It is an attempt, it's published by Norton Press in the US, and it is a very, very interesting book. It is unearthing all the layers of meaning that have been injected into the storytelling of Scheherazade to Shahryar in an attempt to save her life, which is the basic premise of the Arabian Nights. But one of the very interesting anecdotes that I read in the introduction to the Arabian Nights was the incident of a scientist. His name is Richard Feynman. He went on to win the Nobel Prize for Physics. As I said, I'm very closely connected with the physicists right now. He won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1965. And in his autobiography, which is called You Must Be Joking, Mr. Feynman, he recounts that when he gets tired of doing physics, he opens the Arabian Nights. And in just reading a story or how the story is told, how the story ends on a cliffhanger so that the king may spare the life of the woman telling the story, he finds a way to turn the problem on its head. The problem in physics, not storytelling. the ability to tell a story in such a way that you save your life. This is the premise, as I said. Richard Feynman found a way to get inspired to look at a problem in a way that had not occurred to him before. So I say that for an award, a Nobel Prize winning physicist, he had to turn to the arts or to storytelling. And that is why it is so important that we integrate the arts into all aspects of education. Arundhati, this is addressed to you as well. Because if we keep the arts, the humanities, the social sciences, commerce, business into separate tracks, and we break up these tracks as early as when a person is 14 years old, imagine the damage that we do. I opted for the humanities after 8th grade, and it was one of the most colossal damages done to my mind, because I know nothing about math, I know nothing about physics, I know nothing about chemistry, I know nothing about biology. I only know storytelling, movies, fiction, painting, music. I don't know the physics of music. How ridiculous is that? So, in what you're calling integrating the arts, again, another theme, major theme in the national education policy, I have been talking about the damage that we do through over specialization and specialization too early. At 14, I had to decide, do I want to study humanities or science? And I thought humanities will be easy and science will be hard, so I just opted for humanities. I should not have been allowed to do that. Not I. We should not have been allowed to do that. I recently gave a workshop on integrating the arts to school teachers in Kerala. This was an event organized by a major educational organization in Kerala, and I was talking about how you need to integrate the arts at every level of school education. And you know what the teacher said to me? If we talk about the arts or we ask the students what they think of art in the context of geometry or biology or something like that, it creates too much indiscipline. Madam, class में बहुत शोर हो जाता है, they said to me. मैडम, बच्चे उछल कूद करने लगते हैं, बातचीत करने लगते हैं, उछल कूद में इतना इनडिसिप्लिन हो जाता है, हम ये नहीं अलाउ कर सकते। मैंने बोला, तो उससे क्या, अगर इनडिसिप्लिन हो जाता तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? मैडम, प्रिंसिपल आ जाते हैं, वो कहते हैं कि इतना शोर क्यों हो रहा है? So if our teachers are more concerned with discipline than with creativity, we're in big trouble. So when we think about the arts or integrating the arts, we have to allow for breaking the boundaries that have existed. And we have to stop treating the classroom like a regiment that is a police force or a military force or an air force. We are free, thinking, spirited people. And as Arundhati said, we have to unshackle the mind. To hell with discipline in this. Thank you. Sorry if I'm interjecting too much, but because every speaker had 15 minutes assigned to her, and Rajiv, as the too careful accountant of minutes for my liking, I was told to stay within 15, but he did not give me the option that if the speaker speaks for less than 15 minutes, that I might commandeer the remaining time, which is I'm going to freely do. So thank you, Fatima. Thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for your very, very laudable goals in your XENA Soul Connect. I'm going to go back to the program, and I know that Professor Vinay Pandey is here, and he's going to talk about XENA Outreach Foundation. Professor Pandey, are you here and ready to take over at this point? I will introduce you in a minute. Professor Vinay Pandey, are you ready to take on the next presentation?
Can't hear you. No, you're having the same problem. We can't hear you.
You can't hear me or you can't hear Vinay Pandey?
We can't hear Professor Vinay Pandey. So kindly take off your earphones and talk directly into the system.
Let me try.
Yeah, this is okay. This was okay. Yeah.
Now it's coming. The audio is fine now.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's fine
yes.
now.
Yes.
Okay.
Stay with where you are, and I will introduce my friend Vinay Pandey. Professor Pandey is retired from the Indian Air Force way back in the year 2000. Having had a distinguished and commended term with the Indian Air Force and equally vibrant civil career, he commands a colossal practical experience of over 4 decades, ranging from engineering, academia, industry, and communication. He's connected to public relations and management. Again, another all-rounder. I love all-rounders. He has been seconded by none in the areas of responsibilities he shares during his diversified tenure of these various career paths. He has a very sound command over languages he knows. His passions include writing in general, expressing his thoughts in the form of poetry in particular. And let me say that my role as MC has been greatly enhanced and supported by Vinay Pandey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Professor Vinay Pandey values traits of dedication, punctuality, and sincerity. Add to this his persona to render himself reliable and dependable and a good friend. Thank you. Over to you, Vinay Pandey.
Thank you. My audio is okay, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Poonam. Distinguished panelists and all the participants, a very good XENA afternoon from Vinay Pandey. I am immensely pleased and honored to have been invited to put forth my point of view on XENA Outreach Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank the honorable founding member of XENA World for having a person that I am as a member of this family and entrusting me with the responsibility of delivering this address on XENA Outreach Foundation on the occasion of this confluence of XENA minds today evening. As evident, this event happens to be the last one for this calendar year, and personally I feel that the decision to give it a makeover in a consolidated form involving all the entities and the key minds of the family is a thing to be warmly welcomed by each one of us. XENA Outreach Foundation, as you all know, is a non-profit national NGO registered under Society Registration Act 1880 in June this year. A non-governmental organization is a group of people from different domains acting together but not connected to the government of the country. Usually, non-governmental organizations are non-profit. That is, they are trying to do something other than making money for the people who run them. NGO is a term that has been widely accepted as referring to a legally constituted non-governmental organization created by neutral or legal persons with no participation or representation of any government. To date, XENA Outreach Foundation is like a global community, welcoming people from every discipline and culture who seek a deeper understanding of the world. We believe passionately in the power of ideas to change attitudes, lives, and ultimately the world. कहते हैं हम दरिया हैं, हमें अपना हुनर मालूम है. हम दरिया हैं, हमें अपना हुनर हुनर मालूम है, जिस तरफ भी चल पड़ेंगे रास्ता हो जाएगा. In fact, whatever we do, from our virtual events to our actual chapters, is driven by our goal, that is to stretch out ourselves to reach to the really needy ones. I am delighted to be here once again to meet with so many lively souls, women and men who have made many great achievements in the field they belong to. Some of you even have crossed your boundaries and excelled in plentiful added activities for the real good of the society we live in. Let's explore a bit on the XENA Outreach Foundation and its key intentions. The main aim and objective for which XENA Outreach Foundation is established are open and run educational and vocational schools, computer coaching and care guidance for charitable purposes in order to promote education and employment, enhancing vocational skills and livelihood enhancement projects among the poor and backward classes of the society, provide scholarships or other means of financial assistance for academic pursuit to deserving students for the backward and economically weaker sections of the society, promoting environmental sustainability, ecological balance, protection of flora and fauna, animal welfare, agroforestry, conservation of natural resources, and maintaining the quality of soil, air, and water. Open and run medical diagnostic centers, health clinics, old age homes, and hospitals of charitable purposes to provide medical assistance to the backward and economically weaker sections of the society. Create awareness in the public relating to family planning, nutrition, AIDS, hygiene, sanitation, and health through plays and workshops, providing basic facilities like toilets, drinking water, and sanitary pads. Assisting in the protection of natural heritage, art and culture, and or undertaking restoration of buildings and sites of historical importance. When we achieve the triumph, every ounce of effort seems worth it, be it in thoughts, out of arena, by brain, off technicalities, at backstage, with pen, without name, over the podium, on or off the screen, our gratitude knows no bounds. We at Zena live up to the story of the little squirrel that helped Lord Rama build the bridge over the sea. Amit Rai, a yoga and vipassana expert, says we all are so deeply interconnected. We have no option but to love all, be kind, and do good for anyone that will be reflected. The ripples of the kind heart are the highest blessings of the universe. So, ladies and gentlemen, the momentum is growing, and we can hear the rumblings of calls to action among the members. Well, in order to have clear corridor of introspection, we must first recollect our uh, our roles as JENA Outreach Foundation. In Indian context, the roles are supposed to be: first is to play a major role in bringing out significant change for promotion and development of society. We got to work in various parts of the geographical area and serve the humanity for good cause. It is important that our members are informed, inspired, enthusiastic, and interested in working and deliberation. We are more like a social safety wall. We can play a crucial role in understanding the public inconveniences and becoming an advocate to the social issues and needs. We can lend voice to the poor and the needy. We can improve government performances. It is one of the functions of NGO to ensure that the government is responsive and the problems of the citizens are being solved meticulously, thus making the government's work accountable. Providing suggestions and encouraging improvement and flexibility in the government's policy making process also could be our role. Service or seva, as we say in Hindi, is the key word for us. We as a non-profit organization are committed to work as a mechanism through which people worried about any of their social or economic difficulties may raise their hands to get the required help or support. We got to help in beneficial conflict resolution and create the environment of trust and confidence. Service to man is service to God, it is said. Those who sustain human beings, those who are in the service of men, are really in the service of God. God actually loves those who love his creation and serve the mankind. It is imperative to conserve and encourage India's diverse culture. Imagine the number of communities all across the world and the number of those participating to serve the interest of the community. Our endeavor should be to build community participation by proposing substitute perspective that includes the capability to carry out a meaningful dialogue with disadvantaged communities. Our performance can go a long way in working for women empowerment. Few of the examples are fight against cruelty, other social menaces to educating women, lowering the female feticide, employment generation, awareness campaigns, and of course, attempts to have a better post-COVID world. We must give our best for removing gender inequality. When we talk of sustainable development, this area needs the maximum attention because nobody is ready to compromise on their present needs and ultimately the destruction of natural resources to achieve their selfish goals has become so common a practice. We as a responsible foundation therefore must keep an eye on all of these and come up with control measures to prevent overutilization of natural resources, the root cause of environmental threats, which later causes health problems and natural calamities as well. To conclude, we have a major role to play and be the biggest catalyst for the deprived people's development in the society. We have to set an example for serving the humanity by following the fundamental principles of Sarvajan Hitaya, Sarvajan Sukhaya, and therefore have a long way to go in nation building. In the year that is going by, we had Delhi chapter in which sanitary napkins were distributed to the underprivileged women in adjoining rural area. Purnia chapter also had few of the genuine initiatives under Jena Outreach Foundation. See, there is a difference between reach out and outreach. Both are not the same. Outreach is a concerted and targeted effort to get a message to a certain group, whereas reaching out simply describes how widespread or accessible our message is in general. When we say, are we reaching out to senior citizens? It means, is our message getting to the senior citizens? While are we reaching, are we outreaching senior citizens means, are we making a targeted effort to get our message to senior citizens? It is the extent or length of something or to reach farther or to surpass or exceed or to go beyond. It is to say that Xena Outreach Foundation has to live up to its surname in literal terms to see a date in future on which we can say that we have done what we ought to have or intended to. Winston Churchill once said, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life what we give. Xena Outreach Foundation has been conducting online virtual events regularly to keep its members alert, active, and responsive. It has been a constant effort of the founding member of XENA World family to connect the people from different walks of life with the foundation so that working group gets enriched and focused towards its goal. He believed in the lines, मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर. मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर लोग साथ आते गए कारवां बनता गए.
Wow.
It's totally out of imagination, as Mr. Naveen Jaggi also was quoting. It's really out of imagination for a common man as to how and under what condition the founding member works tirelessly for the family and puts the palatable taste on the fore on weekly basis. Talk of its members picking, readying, uniting, joining, performing, responding, dangling between yes and no, or dedicating. All sort of these are simple cup of tea for this gentleman who is needless to be named. What to say about a face that never comes in front, yet never stays behind? I think you all understand. And to submit finally, all I can say is that it must be our foremost apprehension to do whatever we can support this foundation so that it grows by leaps and bounds in days to come. I would like to finish with a line of one of our renowned Urdu poet, Nida Fazli. He says, हर आदमी में होते हैं 10-20 आदमी, हर आदमी में होते हैं 10-20 आदमी, जिसको भी देखना हो कई बार देखना, जिसको भी देखना हो कई बार देखना. So मतलब ये है कि अब हमें किसी भी मानव को जब देखना हो तो एक नजर से नहीं बल्कि कई दृष्टिकोणों से देखने की आवश्यकता है, ताकि हम उनकी खुशियों में शामिल होने के साथ साथ उनके पेन पॉइंट्स को भी पहचान सकें और उन्हें राहत मुहैया कराने में जो कुछ भी थोड़ी हम अपनी मेहनत दे सकते हैं, अपना प्रयास कर सकते हैं, उसे अवश्य करें. So today is the day dedicated for rededicating ourselves to XENA Foundation. I vow to put forward my best foot always to support the foundation and remain selflessly committed to my responsibilities and assignments with all my vigor and intellect. Finally, as the new year 2022 is knocking at the door, I, with my family, wish that the coming year brings a lot of joy, happiness, and prosperity in the lives of all the members of our family and their extended families and their near and dear ones. With these words, I take leave of you. Thank you very much. God bless. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Vinay Pandey. To take the conversation forward from Nida Fazli, एक आदमी में होते हैं कई बहुत आदमी, एक आदमी को 10-20 आदमी,
जी जी,
कुछ आदमी ऐसे होते हैं जिनके लिए 2 आंखें कम पड़ जाती, उनको देखने के लिए, उनको समझने के लिए. आप समझ रहे हैं मैं किसकी बात कर रही हूँ? मेरी 2 आंखों से उनके कितने चेहरे हैं वो मैं देख नहीं पा रही. आप समझ रहे हैं कि उनके कितने फैसेट्स हैं, कितनी क्वालिटीज हैं, और काश कि मेरे सिर के पीछे भी मेरी आंखें होती कि मैं उनके सब एस्पेक्ट्स को देख सकती और अप्रिशिएट कर सकती. मेरे लिए 2 आंखें बहुत कम पड़ रही हैं आजकल. आपने जो कहा कि ज़ेना आउटरीच फाउंडेशन में हमें देखना है कि कैसे हम ओपन रन एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस को बढ़ावा दे सकते हैं. ये बात मुझे बहुत पसंद आई. And I want to connect it to Arundhati's comment earlier about educating without syllabus.
Yes.
ये जो syllabus है ना, ये बहुत shackling है. ये हमारी पाँव में बेड़ियां डाल रही है कि यही पढ़ाना है, ऐसे ही पढ़ाना है, इसी समय में पढ़ाना है, इम्तिहान के लिए पढ़ाना है. ये बात बहुत गलत है. जो ऑर्गेनिक, क्या कहेंगे उसको हिंदी में, ऑर्गेनिक आप समझते हैं, जो ऑर्गेनिक एजुकेशन होती है वो स्टूडेंट और टीचर के बीच में तय होती है. जब मैं, ठीक है, कॉलेजेस यूनिवर्सिटीज में थोड़ा ज्यादा फ्रीडम रहता है, अमेरिका में और भी ज्यादा फ्रीडम होता है कि जो मैं कोर्स पढ़ाती हूँ उसको मैं ही डिजाइन करती हूँ, कोई नहीं मुझे बताता कि मैं क्या कोर्स पढ़ाऊँ और उसको कैसे पढ़ाऊँ, उसमें क्या इंक्लूड करूँ, ये बिल्कुल मेरे ऊपर है, सिर्फ मेरी जिम्मेदारी है। लेकिन जब मैं देखती हूँ कि किन स्टूडेंट्स ने मेरे कोर्स के लिए ऑप्ट किया है, वो उनकी चॉइस है, वो मेरे पास आए हैं, उन्होंने पैसे दिए हैं, टाइम दिया है, मेहनत देंगे, तो पहली क्लास में मैं उनसे कहती हूँ कि ये मैंने कोर्स डिस्क्रिप्शन एडवर्टाइज किया है, इसको आपने ऑप्ट किया है, लेकिन मैं जानना चाहती हूँ कि आप इसमें क्या चेंजेस या क्या इम्प्रूवमेंट या क्या सजेशंस देना चाहते हैं। जो मैंने कोर्स इस साल पढ़ा रही हूँ, इसका ओरिजिनल डिजाइन मेरा है, लेकिन इट हैज द बेनिफिट ऑफ द इनपुट ऑफ previous classes of courses of students who have taken this course and said इसको थोड़ा इस तरफ ले जाइए, उसको थोड़ा कम कीजिए, इसको थोड़ा बढ़ा दीजिए। इसी तरह से मैं पहली क्लास में पूछती हूँ कि इस कोर्स को मैं आपके लिए किस तरह से इम्प्रूव कर सकती हूँ, और इन द कोर्स ऑफ द सेमेस्टर मैं उसके ऊपर अमल करूंगी। ये नहीं कि अगले टाइम इसी सेमेस्टर में उसके ऊपर अमल करने की कोशिश करूंगी, so that I give you the maximum satisfaction that you expect from opting for this course. So this is what we call an open run curriculum. You know, it has the input not just of the teacher but of the students as well. Okay?
Yes.
ये बात मुझे आपकी बहुत पसंद आई। आपने कहा कि we need to appreciate the natural heritage and its revival, to which I will add natural heritage, the historical heritage, and the artistic heritage of the places where we live, you know. और किसी ने कहा था कि we need to break down the binaries between high art and popular art. Similarly, we need to break down the boundaries between that which merits study and that which is so ordinary that it does not need to be studied. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि कोई इतना कोई चीज इतनी इंसिग्निफिकेंट है कि उसे हम गौर से नहीं देख सकते। किसी भी चीज को हम गौर से देखेंगे तो हमें समझ आएगा कि इसका महत्व क्या है, जो बिग पिक्चर में क्या महत्व है इसका। अभी कल की बात है कि मैं एक औरत से बात कर रही थी, यंग औरत थी, उसका बच्चा हुआ था, तो मैं उसको बधाई दे रही थी। उसने कहा कि आपको पता है ना कि मेरी ये दूसरी बेटी है। तो मैंने कहा हाँ, क्यों, क्या बात है इसमें? कहता है कि उसने कहा कि मेरा हस्बैंड मुझे छोड़ के चला गया है क्योंकि मेरी दूसरी बेटी। तो मैंने उसको कहा कि तुम्हें पता है कि जो फीटस का जो सेक्स डिटर्मिनेशन होता है वो मेल स्पर्म से होता है कि ना कि फीमेल फिजियोलॉजी से। तो अगर तुम्हारी बेटी हुई है, उसकी जिम्मेदारी तुम्हारे हस्बैंड को जाती है, तुम्हें नहीं।
श्रेय हो या दोष उसी को जाता है।
हाँ, श्रेय या दोष उसी को जाता है। तो ऐसा सोचना आदमी ने कि औरत ने दूसरी लड़की पैदा कर दी तो मैं उसको छोड़ के चला जाऊंगा, ये प्रथा और ये मिसकंसेप्शन अभी भी है। कल ही की बात है जब ये बात हो रही थी मेरी इस औरत से कि मेरी दूसरी पहली बेटी होगी, उसने कहा चलो कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन अभी दूसरा बच्चा बेटा होना चाहिए। लेकिन अगर दूसरी बेटी हो गई तो वो उसको छोड़ के चला गया। ये अभी भी हो रहा है और इसके ऊपर कोई पाबंदी नहीं है, इसके ऊपर कोई दोष नहीं है।
वो भी आप दिल्ली में इस चीज को विटनेस कर रही हैं इस बात।
बिल्कुल, ये कोई छोटे मोटे गांव की बात नहीं है,
वही ना,
ये दिल्ली की बात है। बिल्कुल,
that itself is a very great negative message.
Right, and आपने बात करी कि we need to lower feticide, we need to eliminate female feticide. सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात है कि अभी भी अबॉर्शन, सेक्स डिटर्मिनेशन के लिए अबॉर्शन अलाउड नहीं है, लेकिन वैसे अबॉर्शन अलाउड है। लेकिन किसी न किसी तरीके से लोग ये कोशिश करते हैं कि पता चल जाए कि बच्चा पैदा होने से पहले कि वो बच्चा लड़का है या लड़की। अगर लड़की है तो बच्चा गिरा दो, ये कहा जाता है, बच्चा गिरा दो। कितनी मामूली सी बात है, जैसे कि हाथ से प्लेट गिर जाती है या गिलास गिर जाता है, बच्चे की लाइफ को अबॉर्ट करने को बोलते हैं बच्चा गिरा दो, अभी से गिरा दो, जल्दी में गिरा दो, पहले 3 महीने में गिरा दो। उसका कोई कॉन्शियंस नहीं है, कोई उसका समाज उसके बारे में कोई क्रिटिसिज्म नहीं ऑफर करता है। मैं तो कहती, I believe, yes, women should have the right to have an abortion if they so choose, but abortion should be a very last resort. Nobody should be able to just have an abortion because they use it as a form of birth control. This is inhuman. अगर आपने बच्चे को कंसीव करा है तो आपको उसको फुल टर्म तक कैरी करना है। अगर आपको बच्चे नहीं करना है तो आपको पहले बर्थ कंट्रोल एक्सरसाइज करना चाहिए था या एब्स्टिनेंस करना, जो भी, जैसे भी आप चाहे। अगर आप गलती से आप प्रेग्नेंट हो गए और आपने अबॉर्शन या कुछ ऐसा मेथड अडॉप्ट किया तो ये बहुत गैर जिम्मेदारी की बात है। इसकी बात यहाँ पे हिंदुस्तान में, भारत में अभी बहुत कम होती है, क्योंकि हमारी आबादी इतनी ज्यादा है। अबॉर्शन has lost its stigma, abortion has lost its moral turpitude, कि हमने जीवन को शुरू किया और उसको फुल टर्म तक हम नहीं ले जाना चाहते, हम अबॉर्शन करा लें। ये बहुत गलत बात है और इसकी चर्चा बिल्कुल नहीं हो रही है। आपने कहा कि सैनिटरी नैपकिन्स की डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होनी चाहिए, तो मुझे अभी याद आया कि कुछ ही हफ्ते पहले हमने एक प्रोग्राम किया था ऑन medical myths, and the one particular medical myth that we were talking about was urinary tract infection. तो इस डॉक्टर ने बहुत अच्छे से समझाया कि किस तरह से औरतों ज्यादातर aging women are prone to urinary tract infection, and it's almost a function of their physiology that the internal body parts are such that it is easy for the urinary tract to get infected, and it is the most common ailment that elderly women suffer from the world over. But हमने ये नहीं कहा कि the reason why women don't pay attention to urinary tract infection is because it is connected with their sexual organ, and there is so much shame and so much disgrace and so much it is not from the woman having multiple sexual partners that she may get a urinary tract infection, but because it is difficult for her to talk about the fact that hygienic conditions are not prevalent for her. If she does not have access to sanitary napkins or vaginal cleanliness, it is almost inevitable that she will get a urinary tract infection. But she cannot do anything about it. She cannot go to a doctor about it because there's so much shame and so much guilt. There is so much guilt associated with the fact that she has a vagina.
Yes.
So इन चीजों की बातचीत करना और to openly talk about the fact that urinary tract infection has nothing to do with a sexually transmitted disease. इस डॉक्टर ने इस बात पर बिल्कुल ध्यान नहीं दिया था. When the core fact of the matter is that women are hesitant to seek medical attention because they have been brainwashed into believing that a urinary tract infection and a sexually transmitted disease are somehow coterminous. इतनी छोटी छोटी बात की जानकारी हमें नहीं है.
सही बात.
तो हमें बहुत लंबा रास्ता जाना है, स्पेशली औरतों की इज्जत और औरतों की सेहत और औरतों की दिमागी मानसिक सेहत के लिए हमें बहुत मेहनत करनी. तो आपके जो आउटरीच फाउंडेशन है, इसके जो गोल्स है बहुत ही अच्छे हैं, बहुत ही समझदार हैं और आप बहुत ओपनली इन चीजों के बारे में बात करते हैं। आप आदमी होके सैनिटरी नैपकिन्स की डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की बात कर रहे हैं, इसके लिए मैं आपकी बहुत आभारी हूँ। थैंक यू। ओके, moving forward. Is Nandita Sethi here? Can we call on Nandita Sethi now to talk about XENA World Care Foundation? Nandita, are you here?
Yeah, I'm very much here.
Okay, good. Let me first do you the honors of an introduction, and then we look forward to your presentation. Dr. Nandita Sethi is the founder and managing director of the Entrepreneur Zone, TEZ or TEZ, which is an entrepreneurship development center and a startup accelerator, providing mentorship and consultancy to startups and business. She has a doctorate in international economics with over 28 years of diverse experience in and out of the academy. She has authored a book, The Asia Pacific Region, Emerging Opportunities for India, and edited the books Global Meltdown, Regional Impacts, and Rethinking India's Growth Strategy, Services versus Manufacturing. Since 2015, Dr. Sethi is mentoring and consulting startups and budding entrepreneurs through her organization, TEZ, which runs programs to help startups and small SMEs. I'm not sure what that stands for.
Small and medium enterprises.
Small and medium enterprises. Thank you. She has been awarded the TIE Best Mentor Award for 2016-17 and the TIE ISB Connect, the Indie-Wood Business Excellence Award in November 2019, and the COWE Excellence Award in March 2021. Dr. Nandita is the ex-chairman of the CIE Indian Women Network, Telangana, which helps women professionals and entrepreneurs. She is also a TED Talk speaker. Her organization, TEZ, has been adjudged as the top 10 startup consultant organization in India. Over to you, Dr. Sethi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Poonam, for the introduction, and I thought it should be much shorter. So the best part today is that when Rajiv ji told me that you speak something, I just didn't know what to speak in this platform because I speak on very different things, and then suddenly so much of care and things like that. So I said, so what I'm going to talk today is just completely unorganized, coming straight from the heart, not prepared, and never on a Sunday prepared for giving any speech. And in any way, I think we are a group that needs no gyan as such. We are only sharing experiences. So I'm out here to completely chat and talk and, some points. And when he said you talk what you want to talk, so the only thing I was wondering, because it's very rare that I talk on such topics, but what came to my mind was to talk about how do we nurture relationships, because end of the day, no matter what we do, where we are, and what we achieve in life, it's finally, life is all about relationships. And the foundation also is about caring for the elderly and for the children. So I just thought relationships are 360 degrees, whether you're in your office, you're at home, you're at an age group where you have little children or you have elderly, older children, you have elderly parents, and this whole network of relationships around you can be sometimes so overwhelming that, they can be the cause of a lot of stress at times. And they can also be the cause of a lot of happiness if you know how to nurture them. So what I'm here today is to completely just have some kind of a chat with all of you regarding this, and coming with no proper format of giving any speech or lecture at all. So I'm sure everybody agrees with me that, on a single day, even if we have had a small argument with somebody, it could be your child, it could be your parent, it could be your maid servant, it could be your spouse, it could be your somebody in the office, it can completely disturb your mind. Do you agree with me? You can just, I mean, let's not have a monologue, and we can have a conversation. Dr. Poonam, has it ever disturbed you, any small thing? I mean, I'm just sharing.
I would say that I am so susceptible to vibes or vibrations from people that every little thing tends to disturb me. It takes all my energy to maintain my equilibrium. So I'm guilty of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I've also observed that, and a small argument, even with a child at home, can actually give you sleepless nights. Why did the child say this to you? What is going on in the mind of the child? Does she like you or not? And then same thing happens when you're, connecting with your relatives, your parents, your office staff, your juniors, your subordinates, your seniors, your boss. So end of the day, whatever you do, you have to maintain these relationships. And that is where I'm just going to talk about. Because here at XENA, I think one of the goals is to keep, maintain that relationship with all generations, wherever in that generation that we are. So we have seen that over studies have shown that, if you really want to increase your happiness, you want to improve your health, you want to reduce stress in your life, make sure that you keep your relationships keep going. I know it can't happen all the time, but then just see that whatever happens, you know how to manage, and you know how to pull it off in a way that in the end of the day, it doesn't stress you and makes you happy. So, having seen all these years, people fight over so many things, sometimes from property to very, very small things, ego issues to, such simple problems that they really do not, at the end of the day, realize that fighting over that has given them so much more tensions in life than having given up what they were fighting for, which could have been very, very small, or even having said a sorry could have actually made them sleep so many more nights more comfortably, and which they did not want to because of an ego. So let's just put it together as what does it all mean to have these relationships? How do you keep it going? So, as far as I see, one of the biggest mistakes I think that all of us live with is that we have very unrealistic expectations sometimes from all the relationships around us. That's what is the cause of a lot of misery sometimes, because we expect so much. Let us say you are at a situation where you have children who are seeking their careers. At that point of time, you expect them to follow a certain path. And I think Dr. Poonam and I think Fatima also spoke about it, where you want them to go in a certain path. Like, for example, like every place has its own, whatever they like in the South, everybody has to be an engineer. No matter what you do after it, it's like a basic qualification. Every child has to be an engineer or a doctor. And so every parent cannot think about anything else for their children. That's the first expectation they live by. And actually, I've heard parents tell their children who wanted to go a different path that you do what you want to do, but first finish your engineering. So they have to go through the grind of going through engineering post school. They have to go through these 4 years and do whatever engineering, whether they are a misfit there also. And once you're done that, then you're fine. You take on what you want to do, or you get married or whatever, but they have to be, it's just an expectation they have from their children. So you just see, I've seen so many children who are so unhappy because they have to do this, and for getting into that engineering, believe me, and I think you all know, there are all these shops around which are grinding the children from morning 4 o'clock to night 10 o'clock for this grind to get into IITs, to get into BITS, to get into all the top-notch colleges in the country. And what is the child going through? So much of stress. He is not liking it. And they are put into a grind. Believe me, it's like a machine which is churning out children for the colleges. And then why did you make them go through this? Because it was your expectation. Okay, so when it comes to children, I think it's time we have to, cut down on these expectations from children. They have their own, talents, they have their own expectations, and they have their own path they want to follow. And most of the time we put our expectations on them. So that is one thing I think, in a relationship that brings a lot of bitterness at times, and later children grow up to tell their parents, it was you who made me do this, and things like that. Well, I'm not saying that you don't guide them. Definitely every parent's job is to guide their children. But when you put your expectations on them and forget to see their talents and, their what they're growing up with, I think that is a time when the relationships take a toll. Similarly, you may be at a stage where you have parents who are aged and they are living with you. And so as a person somewhere in their 40s, let us say between 40 and 50, you would be at a stage where sometimes under the same roof you are, dealing with children, growing children, teens, and children who have their career expectations. So you are in the grind for them. And at the same time, you have parents who are aging and they have different requirements. So how do you manage this as somebody in that age group? That is where, again, it comes, there are times when you have to stop expecting too much, whether it is from parents or from children, and let go and let them live with their, what they have wanted in their life. So even if parents are around with you, there are times I have seen clashes at home where the generation wants the parents also to follow or to live a lifestyle that they are following, especially if you are under one roof. So this happens at every home. These are clashes that happen between three generations at the same time because your expectations are too much. Now, when it comes to your own partner or spouse, and that is the worst kind of expectation, that you would get everything from one person, that is called your spouse. And that is where many marriages, I think, collapse, because every time your expectations are from intellectual to physical to metaphysical to everything from a partner. And again, that is where a lot of relationships break down. I'm so much reminded of, the Airtel ad. I don't know if you, many of you remember. It's a beautiful advertisement which says, "Har ek dost zaruri hota hai." Do you remember this ad? I think it was beautiful because it says that, you need relationships around you which are of all types, because as a human being, you have many facets. There may be relationships which are on intellectual levels. There are relationships which are meant for something else. There are relationships, but when we start expecting everything from that one person, that's again where it collapses. Now, my second point, I think, which I would like to discuss is in relationships, what is happening is, I think, I would say 90% of time our relationships get poor with whomever it is around us is simply because somehow we do not like to communicate enough, or we do not have the right sort of communication. And that really brings again stress. Sometimes it could be oral, body language, or written communication. And worst of all is the written part, because when we write something, even on a WhatsApp, it's taken differently because the way you write it and the mood at which you write and the mood in which it is taken when it comes to them may be two different things. But I have seen over all these years that a lot of time the communication, people do not want to sit down and communicate when they have issues with each other, whether it's in the family or it's in the office. I mean, take your time, take the time, be there and communicate, talk with each other with so much clarity, and make sure that the person across you with whom you are trying to communicate your situation is totally understanding it the way you want her or him to understand. So what happens is, most of the time you feel you have communicated, but it has been totally misrepresented or taken in a different way. And that is where again relationships collapse, or it takes years to patch it back. It just takes 1 minute to spoil a relationship and years to patch it back. So here is where you got to sit down and take the trouble of giving the right sort of communication. I think most of you have spoken about this many times. I think we just need to work on it ourselves. And many times, I think before we go to communicate, whether it is in a public talk or it is, we don't prepare so much for talks with our own people. But when there are disputes or when there are grievances or, some issues amongst us, we need to actually sit down and work on our communication and see what are the points we want to bring across, in what way we want to bring across, and then make sure that we have brought it across. Sometimes it has not gone through. And I would believe, and I have seen in my personal life, that much of the time, when the communication was right, I always got through the worst of relationships. I could overcome them because I saw, I worked on the way I spoke and brought the issue out. And it's okay to, say what your problems are, what your issues are. It's okay to look vulnerable. It's okay to bring out them with clarity. And much of the time, again, ego pulls us and we do not want to. So when you're frank and communicative, people are more likely to take you on face value, more likely to understand your issues, and then come to some situation where you can, you can build up those relationships. Be flexible. It's natural to feel uneasy about changes in life. And no, I don't see any relationship which ever remains the same. I've seen, we see relationships changing from I can't live without you to I can't live with you, right? So when these kind of things happen in life with everybody, it's okay that you learn to be flexible. It's natural to feel uneasy about changes, but healthy relationships will always allow you to change and grow. And it's okay to nurture relationships. It's okay to come out of them if you feel they are not of, they are not adding to you in any way and they have become a burden on you. But very often we stick on because we feel that for whatever reason, societal reasons or what. So it's good to be flexible also in relationships. Most important thing is take care of yourself. Healthy relationships are mutual, and every relationship, parent, child, husband, wife, your aging parents and you, there should be room for everybody's needs to be met. That is important. And when this needs are not met across the parties who are in the relationship, no matter what the relationship, that is when the disputes happen. And then I think every relationship requires you to be dependable, obviously, whether it's friends or business partners, or whether it is including family relationships, parents, children. There has to be a feeling that I can depend on my child, I can depend on my parent, I can depend on my partner, I can depend on my business partner. All of them require trustworthiness. That's the most important. And always we got to see that we fight fair. Most relationships have conflict. It only means that it's not about that you hate somebody, it's about that you disagree. So bring it out with clarity that, when you have a dispute or you're, trying to say that, this thing is not working, and this happens in every home, but make sure that the conflict is not about that, the fact that you do not like the relationship. The fact is about you do not like something in that relationship. So that has to be brought out. It's not that you don't like the person, it's that you don't like something about the person. So that has to be brought out clearly. And most often we are in a huff, we don't cool down before talking. And that is another reason. After a week or after 2-3 days, you realize, oh, it could have been dealt with in a more cool way. They say, the brain has a segment, some amygdala. So when the information goes to the amygdala without being passed slowly, what happens is you are not in a thinking mode. You just blurt out what comes first without thinking. So that's why in our culture, when there's a fight happening, you will see some of them saying, "Ek minute baith jao, thoda pani pee lo, fir baat karenge." What is the reason for that pani pee lo, baat karenge is because they want the information to go through a process, be processed, so that you get time to think that, look, there is something in this which has to be thought about, and not like, okay, I hate you, and you're not processing the information. So give time to your brain to process the information. That is why we always say, "Thande dimag se socho." That's a very important line. Another important thing I think is we use the I statement very often. So when in a relationship, again, across all relationships, when we are dealing with parents, children, whatever, you got to see that you bring it out in a way that is not blaming the other person. For example, I'll give you an example. For example, you can say, when you don't call me, I start to feel like you don't care about me. When you don't call me, I start to feel that you don't care about me. Now, this is fine. What is this? This is I statement. When you don't call me, I start to feel, it's my feeling, I can say, okay, that you don't care about me. But if you say the same thing, you never call me when you are away, I guess I'm the only one who cares about this relationship. Now you're putting the blame on somebody to say that you never call me, I'm blaming you because you don't care about me. I'm the only one who's worried about this relationship. So instead of saying blaming, if you put across the same thing, again, it's about how you communicate that this is the way I'm feeling. Bring out your feelings. The other person is more likely to consume it in a positive way. Because when you blame, the other person gets reactive. And when you say the same thing, I feel this way that you don't care about me. And it's just a feeling I have. Then what you're saying is, I feel, and is there something you can do about it? That's okay. Keep your language very clear and specific. Very often we are all around. We bring 10 things, and we bring past things also into oh, 10 years back you did this to me, that thing. And when I was doing this, you can tell your parents also that you didn't care for me when I was studying, blah, blah, blah. So all that is not something you should bring. What is your issue now? The language has to be very clear and specific. This is what my issue is right now, and I need a solution to this issue. Now, when you go back and start bringing things from 10 years back, it's all going to get consolidated, and people have moved on, but now you're reminding them of past things. So you're bringing the entire life into picture, and that doesn't help. So please be specific what we want at this moment and say what you feel about it. Focus on the current issues, and then take responsibility for mistakes. If there have been mistakes in the relationship, whether as a child towards your parents who are aged now, or as a parent towards your children or to your spouse, I mean, if you really, after some time, if you agree that it is your mistake, and it's okay to agree, there's nothing wrong in accepting and apologizing for the mistake. Recognize some problems are not easily solvable. So recognize it. They will take time. There are issues that cannot get sorted out in a day or two. So you will have to keep them somewhere in the back shelf, and pick it up at the right time. Sometimes times are not right, so you have to be very, very aware of the time. Be affirming. According to any relationship, and the researchers who have done research on relationships, normally to keep any relationship going, if you give for every one negative affirmation or interaction that you have, I believe it's a very interesting fact, for every one negative interaction you have, you'll have to give 5 positive interactions to bring it back to normal again. So when you do that, be careful of that. So I think it's all a process of nurturing relationships, but be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else in a relationship. Be yourself. I would say share, care, and repair. That's the mantra we should follow. Share, care, and repair. And I would like to I think end it with a story, like most of us are doing. So this is about a little girl, and there's a gentleman who gets into a flower shop because it's a Mother's Day is happening around the corner. So he goes inside the flower shop to buy a bunch of flowers. And so he tells the shopkeeper, okay, this is the bunch of flowers, please wire it to my mother, gives the address of his mother, and is walking out of the flower shop when he sees a girl in tears outside. So he asks the girl, why are you in tears? What happened? So she says that, I want to buy a rose for my mother, but I have 75 cents and he's asking me for $2. So he tells, come inside with me, I'll buy you the rose. So he buys the rose for her. And then as they are walking out, the gentleman says, can I drop you somewhere? So she says, I'm going so and so place, and says, okay, it's on my way, I'll drop you. So he takes the girl in his car, and when he is going to drop her, somewhere on the way, she says, okay, you can drop me here, and thank you so much. And then he stops and he sees he has actually dropped her in a cemetery. So he sees her go to the cemetery, and he is asking her, where are you going? There's no house here. She says, and he sees that she's going to a cemetery which is freshly dug, and she's putting the rose because she lost her mother very recently. And he is so overwhelmed that he drives back to the flower shop and tells the, hold on, don't wire my flowers to my mother. He give it to me. He takes the flowers, drives down 200 miles to meet his mother, and gives the flowers to his mother by himself. So as long as we have these relationships around us, be with them, nurture them before it's too late. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you, Nandita. That was salutary indeed. I just lost my mother 6 days ago, and
I'm so sorry.
I'm thinking back to this really struck home. I want to talk a little bit about my last job that I had in America, which was as a Vice President for Diversity and Equity. Basically, my job was to create amicable relationships between white and Black Americans. That was my job at an institution and maybe across society. And as you know, race has a very troubled history in America, and there's a lot of suspicion and a lot of bad blood. And these relationships are very, very difficult to repair. One of the mechanisms by which I was able to make a little dent in race relations in America was to enact a relationship like a little theater, like a little play, and then to analyze it in front of an audience and to ask the audience to join in the enactment, and then to say, okay, if this went wrong, how would you conduct yourself different? Let's say a Black man and a white man get into an argument. And I take the argument to its peak, to its worst outcome, you know, when it's at its crisis point. And then I freeze frame it. So I say, okay, let's stop here. And now let's go back to see, how did we conduct ourselves for this relationship or this crisis to precipitate in this way? And how would you resolve it? How could you make it better? So enact it in a way that you would retrace your steps to not arrive at this place, or if you've arrived at this place, how would you resolve it going forward? My point in telling this story is that we don't have enough practice in relationship etiquette or communication etiquette. We learn from observing how other people conduct themselves, and we conduct ourselves similarly. So we perpetuate, I mean, so much of our communication is so immediate. We don't have time to think, yes, तो मैं ये बोलूं कि वो बोलूं. जो मेरी माँ मुझे बोलती है, मैं उसको आगे बोल देती हूँ. जो मैंने दोस्तों को बोलते सीखा है, वो मैं आगे बोल देती हूँ. जो किसी ने मुझे कहा, मैं उसको आगे या किसी और को बोल देती हूँ. So I have no training in communication etiquette. कि इस situation में ऐसा कहना है. The one thing that I know, the etiquette that I have seen in India, women are taught, and I am almost privy to this, is that a mother tells her daughter, अपनी सास को कभी ना मत बोलना. अपनी सास जो वो कहे बोला हाँ मम्मी जी, हाँ सास जी, हाँ जी आप जो कह रहे हैं आप ठीक कह रही हैं। कभी सास को ना मत बोल। अच्छा ये तो कह दिया कि सास को ना मत बोलना, लेकिन अगर सास ने अत्याचार किया या सास ने बुरा व्यवहार किया या सास ने बेटे और बहू में झगड़ा कराया या सास, तो उसको भी ना नहीं कह सकते क्योंकि माँ ने सिखाया कि सास को ना मत बोलना। तो उस सिचुएशन को हम कैसे मैनेज करते हैं? हम सिचुएशन को मैनिपुलेट करते हैं, ऊपर ऊपर से हाँ बोलते हैं, पीछे से जहर घोलते हैं।
राइट,
आप समझ रहे हैं मेरी बात? ऊपर ऊपर से हाँ बोलते हैं, पीछे से जहर घोलते हैं कि हाँ जी तो मैंने कह दिया, लेकिन अब मैं इसका बदला कैसे लूंगी? मैं उस सिचुएशन को कैसे मैनिपुलेट करके अपना पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू आगे बढ़ाऊंगी? कोई ऐसा तो है नहीं कि जो कहेगा कि मैंने सास को ना नहीं बोलना है तो मैं उसकी हर बात मानूंगी, उसका कहना मेरे लिए पत्थर पे लकीर है, सास का कहना। ऐसा तो है नहीं, ऐसी तो मैंने कोई बहू देखी नहीं ऐसी मैंने कोई सास देखी है जो कि बहू की इतनी इज्जत करती हो कि वो उसको कभी गलत ना बोले, ऐसा तो है नहीं। सो we know to follow what we have learned, and we have not been taught new etiquette. How will we teach this etiquette if it's not prevailing in society? We have to enact it. Whether we do, आपने एक एग्जाम्पल दिया कि इस एडवर्टिजमेंट में ऐसा हुआ या इस इमेज में ऐसा हुआ। मैंने देखा है कि अभी अभी की बात है, there was this ad for where a boutique celebrated Diwali with the use of an Urdu word or a Muslim etiquette. And the whole thing went ballistic.
right. Absolutely.
अगर अच्छे etiquette को भी आप demonstrate कर रहे हैं तो लोग वो भी नहीं चाहते कि अच्छे से बात कर क्या।
It was a very nice ad which was bringing the two cultures and two religions together, and then people just went haywire on that. I mean, that's overreaction.
Absolutely. We are living in such a toxic environment that even positive etiquette gets a backlash. तो ये हम गंगा जमुनी की बात करते हैं, और जब गंगा और जमुना का संगम होता है तो वहां पे तो आग जल जाती है। ऐसा कैसे होगा? आगे कैसे बढ़ेंगे हम? So what I'm saying is that what we should be able to do through XENA Care Foundation is to establish responsible, careful communication etiquette and get away from manipulation and move towards straightforward communication. When women did not have the right to assert themselves, we did not have the language to assert themselves, they resorted to manipulation. Now that women are getting empowered, why are they still in the domain of manipulation is my question. And I see that in corporate America, I see that in academic America, India, corporate India, academic India, political India. Women are still manipulating situations to get their way. Why don't we have the ability to assert ourselves in reasonable, dignified manner? We don't. If I'm unhappy about something, I write to the person and say, I want to have a conversation with you when you are calm and I am calm. Or I will write you an email or a text message. Expect a long message from me. Read it when you're in a reasonable, calm state of mind. I will send it to you so you know to receive it in such a way that you don't write back to me immediately and say, this is bullshit. अगर मैंने spur of the moment पे लिख दिया कि तुम बकवास कर रहे हो, तो वो दूसरा बंदा कहेगा, अरे तूने अपना शक्ल देखी है क्या? ऐसे बोलेगा। नहीं, मैं उसको पहले ही कह दूंगी, मैं जो कुछ कहने वाली हूँ शायद तुम्हें ये मेरी बात कड़वी लगे, लेकिन मैं बहुत समझ के बात कहूंगी, बहुत ध्यान से लिखूंगी, और जब तुम्हारा मन शांत हो तभी इसको पढ़ना, और अगर जवाब देना तो दो, नहीं देना तो मत दो। So by prefacing that I am going to be assertive, I preempt the backlash. And when I preempt the backlash, I create the environment where the conversation doesn't devolve into tit for tat. तुमने मुझे इतनी गाली दी, मैं तुमको इससे थोड़ी बढ़ के गाली दूंगा, उससे फायदा क्या होगा? कुछ भी नहीं, बढ़ती ही जाएगी बात. The other thing that I have seen in India, at least, we are in this transitionary phase from going from, extended, जिसको बोलते हैं joint family to nuclear families. तो property के ऊपर बहुत झगड़े होते हैं. मैंने देखा कि हर family जिसके पास property है, held jointly and has to be divided up into siblings or whatever, there is a feud, there is a point of contest. I say to them, you are paying a bigger price in terms of your emotions and your heartache and your diseases, your mental health. You are paying a bigger price than the cost of the property that you expect to inherit in the best case scenario.
Absolutely.
In the best case scenario. और झगड़ा कर करके तुमको जो मिलना है टुकड़ा, जो तुमको मिलेगा उसकी तो कितने टाइम तुमने कीमत अदा कर दी अपनी बीमारियों में और अपने रिलेशनशिप्स. और ये बात मुझे बहुत खटक रही है because I'm seeing it, it's so prevalent all around in the middle class and the upper middle class. So when you said that, when we have relationships, we need to have our needs met. आपने कहा बहुत अच्छी बात है कि we have to be clear that चाहे कुछ भी हो, हमें अपने needs तो meet करनी है, चाहे वो emotional needs है, चाहे psychological needs है, चाहे financial needs है, चाहे sexual needs है, चाहे political needs है, हमें अपनी needs we need to have our needs met. To which I will just add, we need to have our needs met with dignity.
Yeah.
I don't just need my needs met. I need to have my need met with dignity. And if it cannot be met with dignity, I should consider that maybe this person cannot meet my. मैं जबरदस्ती किसी से इज्जत नहीं करवा सकती. अगर कोई मेरी जबरदस्ती से मैं किसी से इज्जत कराऊंगी तो वो इज्जत नहीं है, वो कुछ और ही चीज. और इस चीज का हमें उदाहरण बार बार देना है अपने नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को, क्योंकि हम इस बहुत गलत रास्ते पर चले गए इस तरह सिचुएशन. I will end here. I have, I think, one other presenter. Is Mohana Chattopadhyay here now?
No, you can go on to Shantanu Basu and combine with Dr. Anil Kumar.
Acha, we are now starting on session 3, which is our award ceremony.
No. You have got one speaker set left off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. This is XENA International Foundation. I am so sorry. I'm getting carried away by my own rhetoric. And I will introduce Mr. Shantanu Basu and Dr. Anil Kumar. Let me find my right piece of paper. Mr. Shantanu Basu. Mr. Shantanu Basu began his educational journey. He was a student at St. Columbus School, New Delhi, and subsequently a history honors from St. Stephen's College. We were almost coterminous at St. Stephen's College. Mr. Basu subsequently went on to do an MBA from the University of Queensland, Brisbane, Australia, from 1999 to 2000. He attended a PhD program in public administration at North Carolina State University, Raleigh, USA in 2006 and graduated in 2009. Mr. Basu also acquired various specialized trainings from Australia and US besides his academic training. Having started his service career in 1984 as Chief Service Probationer, he held many coveted positions at apex level in audit and accounts. From 2006 to 2009, he was in the USA for his studies. Mr. Basu is the Principal Director of Audit Accounts General, CAG, India for 4 years, and then Principal Accountant General, A&E, Assam for nearly 3 years. To date, he is a specialist in public policy since 2005, and he has conducted these responsibilities with flying colors. Professionally, he is an epitome of excellence. He has set many a milestone in his field and shown his mettle at each of these responsibilities. Mr. Shantanu Basu, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Poonam Arora, for your kind words. Dear friends, when Rajiv,
we can't see you on the screen.
my camera is not loading. I don't know what's happened to it. It refuses to load the camera. So we'll have to, we'll have to do without it today.
Okay, we will just imagine it.
Anyway, it's nothing much that you'll actually miss. So, dear friends, it gives me great pleasure to speak to the esteemed members of the XENA family at the XIF on its annual day. The creation of the XENA family network that has been in the works for about 8 years now owes its genesis to Mr. Rajiv Anand. Without his perseverance and foresight, the XENA network may have remained yet another fertile concept. May I request all of you to give Rajiv a big round of applause. XIF was probably the first XENA subsidiary to be created. The driving principle was to return to society to the extent possible what we had gained individually and collectively from it. This noble vision was the arboretum for the entities that reflected various facets of our mission. At the same time, we realized that philanthropy would need corresponding monetary resources. That is why we created a parallel set of commercial entities, namely the LLPs. XENA International Foundation remains akin to Microsoft Windows operating system as the omnibus platform upon which various applications could be built and efficiently and profitably run. The foundation was accordingly structured with a wide spectrum of objectives. They included public policy and research, think tanks, advocacy and campaigning, raising financial assistance for its projects, project implementation, critical areas that impinge upon the public welfare, and provide consultancy services such as for CSR, investment and infrastructure, new technology, etc. Members, you would agree that an institution is built and sustained by its constituent members, with excellence being its ethos. It is for members to conceptualize, concretize, and implement solutions. Each foundation member is connected to over 7,000 highly qualified and experienced professionals at XENA World. It is this strength that needs to be harnessed into cogent groups for translating ideas into working solutions. The foundation has been in existence for about 2 years now. Regrettably, response has remained in the tepid zone, although new technologies are rapidly opening up new vistas for business. Many startups owned and operated by youngsters fresh out of university are richly benefiting from such technologies. Recently, the government of India announced a 76,000 crore rupee financing facility for manufacturing semiconductors in India. There are also many other incentives such as export subsidies that companies are tapping. Moreover, a large segment of XENA members live abroad and have access to non-sensitive technologies and best practices that can be replicated in India, albeit in varying degrees. For instance, a commercial tie-up with local companies or entrepreneurs is something that can be facilitated by our foundation. There is therefore little reason for our foundation to be left behind startup. The influential Pulitzer Prize-winning American poetess Gwendolyn Brooks aptly remarked, "We are each other's harvest, we are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond." As we conclude another calendar year in our journey, the foundation hopes its constituent members will come forward in manifold greater strength and carry the foundation's message forward. With these words, and on behalf of the foundation, I wish all of you and your families a very Merry Christmas and convey our best wishes for a brighter and prosperous New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Shantanu Basu. We have two people speaking for Zena International Foundation. The next speaker is Dr. Anil Kumar, and I will introduce him now. Mr. Anil Kumar is a management professional as well as an academic. He's presently working as regional manager in training and placement department with the I Nurture Education Solutions, as well as an assistant professor at the School of Business Studies, Sharda University. Mr. Anil has served 12 years in various organizations in different roles in management, consultancy, and engineering. Along with his professional career, he's a PhD scholar in the strategy and entrepreneur research area with the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. He has also done an MA and MPhil from the same management school, that is TIS, Mumbai, and has won Best Paper Awards in 2 different international conferences. Mr. Anil Kumar has presented his research papers in several reputed academic conferences, such as the Academy of Management Conference, Pan IIM World Management Conference, Indian Academy of Management Conference, Production and Operation Management Society Conference, etc. Overall, Mr. Anil Kumar is active in the education sector with teaching, training, business development, and leadership skills.
Thank you, Dr. Poonam. It is a great opportunity to me to speak over this platform within the XENA family, and therefore I am thankful to the whole XENA family member, and I'm especially thankful to the founder of the XENA group, who give me this opportunity to speak about the Section 8 companies under which the XENA International Foundation has been registered. So I think many of the people know about Section 8 company who are the practitioner in this area, but still there are several things which we need to discuss, or which we know further. For example, the historical premise of Section 8 company, which is quite interesting. Probably many people do not know about it. Maybe some of the historian kind of background is the people who have the interest in history, or someone who have the understanding about the historical background of business, they may know. So I start with the historical background or the perspective of Section 8 company, that what was happening in the past, what was the need of bringing such a law by the government, and what are the benefits of Section 8 company under which this XENA International Foundation has been registered. So about the historical premise, yeah. So we all know about the cooperative movement led by the worker unions and several other entities. So during the 80s, cooperative movement was quite prominent in India and several other countries. We have seen this movement in India. I am recognizing one movement when I was a kid during 1890s, and I went through my father at a store, and that store was at very a kind of in a warehouse. So I asked to my father that Dad, why we came here when we get all the grocery and everything nearby our houses and in the market, you are coming to a warehouse. So he told me that, beta, it is a cooperative run store. So we get all the stuff at the discounted price. So what was the reason to start such discounted store? Because the cooperative can provide the discounted price product and products to the working society or to the all people. So it was a kind of subsidized unit where you can get all the stuff at the subsidized price. So it is only one of the benefit of cooperative movement. No doubt there are several benefits from the getting the rights to getting the financial accessibility and lot of other benefits. Maybe you have heard about some of the bad thing also, but I'm not going to discuss what are those. Maybe it is not right to blame the cooperative movement, because I believe that it was a very useful movement for all the working society. In the later part, in 2006, when Professor Yunus of Bangladesh won the Nobel Prize for his social innovation in the microfinance domain, means his social innovation for the microfinance thing, everyone was shocked, and everyone was trying to understand that what is the social innovation and how we can do this so that we can get recognized in the society. Every person had their own perspective, but everyone was trying to exploring this thing, that what is the social innovation and how they are doing, means how Professor Yunus was doing it. So many people, means many person from the corporate society, many person from the NGO sector, or I can say non-profit sector and for-profit sector, both were looking towards the idea that how the social innovation can create more impact towards the society. So everyone wanted to do such kind of thing in India also. In fact, we have several organizations where those organizations are creating social innovation, and they are doing several activities which is quite related with the social innovation. But I'm just giving you the premise that why people was taking the interest in this idea. So people from the corporate, people from the non-profit were taking interest, and they wanted to make an organization where they can create more social impact within the society. So organizations were facing the legal structuring problem, especially related with the corporate governance, that how we can create such kind of entity where we can create hybrid model. One is for-profit thing and second is the non-profit thing. So in 2013, government proposed this Section 8 company idea, that you can register a company with a social goals, and the benefits of registering these companies are many. So what was the exact idea about Section 8 company is to register a company which can serve for the social purposes, and the profit is not distributed to the shareholder. What was the exact idea of Professor Yunus? That profit from any economic activity should be distributed or reinvested in the same organization. So the whole idea of Section 8 company is this. So definitely the Section 8 company provides several benefits. The benefits is related with the limited liability, which we often see in the company part, but not in the trust or any kind of NGO. Then we see the tax benefit, which Section 8 company usually gets, and such tax benefit is not gaining by the for-profit companies under the private limited company or public limited company tag. Then there are several other benefits related with the corporate governance. Some of them are that if you register a private company, you need to fix a meeting every month. You send the report, but in Section 8 company, you are making the meeting in every 6 months and sending the report. Then here you do not have the foundation of fixing independent board of director. You do not need to send minute of meeting or many other things. similar to the a private limited company. So these are the benefits. There are several other benefits, like you can give the consulting fee to your board members, which is not possible in the non-profit organization registered under Society Act or other things. So one more measure, another benefit is you can get the investor, or you can say the angel investor, who can get the profit over his investment. So such kind of thing is available with the Section 8 company, which provide the the helpful situation from the both part, from the non-profit organization structure part also, and for the for-profit organization structure part also. So these are the thing why this XENA International Foundation is registered under such act, means Section 8 Act. And I believe that it will help to overall XENA family, especially with the XENA International Foundation. We have a very large network of professionals who can bring the CSR fund and several other consulting things. So definitely Section 8 companies are mainly established for two major purposes. One is the education, and second is for the CSR activities. So if you have the Section 8 company, you can easily become a CSR project implementation partner with any company or PSUs who have more than 500 crore revenue, because by law they need to share at least 2% of the revenue amount for the CSR projects. So that is the legal binding. The second benefit with the Section 8 company is you can start any educational institution similar to the private limited company structure thing. You will get several tax benefit over it. Then even the Medical Council of India has given the approval to start a medical college under such structure under Section 8 company. So there are many benefits to use the Section 8 company structure. And I believe that the large network of XENA International Foundation will bring many opportunity for reinvestment in the same organization, which will create more social impact in several areas, from art to education to commerce to sports to environmental thing and poverty reduction. A lot of social development goal we can achieve through such company structuring, and by adding several activities which can helpful to reduce some social stigma or social problems. So probably I had given a brief premise of historical perspective of Section 8 company, why we need Section 8 company, and what are several benefits of Section 8 company. So thank you all to listening me. Any question or anything? Poonam ji?
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, so nowadays every university and other bigger institutions, they have what is called as an incubator, right?
Yes.
So along with that, what happens? They open a Section 8 company, so that the incubator cannot take stake into the startup company, and the Section 8 company comes in between. And then the Section 8 company is can disperse of loan, whatever, equity, loans, whatever they want to, and as well as take stake. But as you say, they cannot disperse of, they don't have, the shareholders cannot get the share of profits, right? They don't declare.
Yes,
am I right?
Yes. But it can be transferable.
Which means transferable to?
Means, for example, if you have the share of, there is For example, paid up capital 10 lakh, which is not mandatory to register the Section 8 company. But for example, you have paid capital of 10 lakh and you hold a share of 1 lakh rupees. So you can easily transfer your share to, for example, let's say Dr. Poonam, you can transfer your share to Dr. Poonam. So such kind of facility is available with the Section 8 company.
So as a shareholder in Section 8 company, I will not get any, I mean, I don't get any benefit of any profits, right?
Yes. No, but if you are the in the management, especially in the executive board, definitely you will not get the benefit. Okay. But if you are the investor, you will get the return over your investment.
Okay. But not as a company. If the company gets profits, that those profits are not declared and divided amongst shareholders.
Yes,
right?
yes. So thanks for the feedback about the incubation. I forgot this context, and it is very useful because I was also associated with the incubation of Tata Institute of Social Science. So I forgot this thing, and thanks for adding this important input in this context.
Thank you.
So this is a very interesting point because, of course, we've talked about the 4 non-profit chapters today, but the for-profit, they're almost like twins of certain non-profits. So for instance, XENA Connect LLP is twin of XENA Soul Connect. XENA World Care Private Limited is connected to XENA World Care Foundation. So it's almost like they are 2 parts. One is the non-profit and the other is the profit. And the profits from the for-profit can be channeled into the non-profit without going into anybody's pocket. Am I understanding this correctly?
Not exactly, but yeah, Section 8 company provide the facility that you start with the company, means you start a company with the social cause. And you register it in Section 8 company, and usually what happens that when we focus on the social mission to resolve the social problems, initially company do not get required amount or money to put in company activities, or we do not have required money to feed and create the impact. So every organization need time to develop its all the activities and processes. It required time and money both. So what many people do that they start the Section 8 company, they focus on the social mission or social purposes, and they invest money. They bring corpuses as a donation. They bring corpuses from the CSR funding as a seed capital and many other things, or grant. In various other way, they bring the money in the organization. They invest in the organizational activities. They try to create the impact. They showcase their impact, and even they can use the they can bring several economic activities also to raise the money for the organization. For example, you can say the earned income activities. So so the company means the Section 8 provide to any the Section 8 provide the facility to the company to
expand,
broaden your arm in both ways. So that is the benefit with the company. And if your economic activity is creating many more useful revenue for the organization, and if you want to register it as a for-profit only, you can convert it. So that is the advantage of Section 8 company.
Yeah, that's very, very helpful.
Into a profit, non-Section 8 profit company also. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
That was very helpful, and also very good pivot from where we are today with the non-profits and where we are heading towards next year for the for-profit. But for the for-profit, the profits will be plowed back into the non-profits. Yeah, that's very, very helpful to know, and also a very important addendum to the way that we've structured the program today, the way we've been doing activities this year, and how we will proceed in the coming year. So thank you very much.
Welcome.
Now we come to the third session, which is the award ceremony. And I will recede into the background in this section. I will hand over to Mr. Amitabh Pathak as the person conducting.
You have to introduce him. You have to
I will.
introduce him.
I will. I will.
Thank you.
Just about to do that. Amitabh Pathak is an established business leader with more than 35 years of rich experience in IT, manufacturing, retail, e-governance, healthcare, and high-tech industry. After serving large organizations and working extensively around the globe, Mr. Pathak is now settled in Delhi, working as an entrepreneur and a management consultant. He has worked for SAIL, I'm sorry, I don't know what these abbreviations mean, US Steel, IIS Incorporated, Polaris, and Intellect in various capacities, and has multiple cultural experiences working in the US, Europe, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and Africa. He's passionate in product design, thinking, coaching, and building management teams, and has successfully built organizations while in IIS Incorporated, Polaris, and Intellect. Extremely strong in program and product execution, he has successfully managed large projects in SAIL and US Steel, later led executive excellence through process and capability strengthening in the various organizations he has worked in. He has an engineering degree in electrical and electronics, a master's degree in physics from prestigious BITS Pilani, and a management degree from AIMA as a gold medalist. Mr. Amitabh Pathak is a lead assessor for ISO and CMMI, an expert in quality assurance, landmark graduate, and a certified Open EXO consultant. Mr. Pathak is currently director and strategist for Inulite, a product manufacturing company in Proceuticals. I don't think I know this word. He is co-founder of DataCraft, developing some innovative and complex platform and solutions in healthcare. He also is a member and guides the startups in manufacturing, retail, healthcare, and some high-tech industry in strategy, business, and operations. As you can see, a very, very accomplished, well-rounded, seasoned member of the XENA family, and I'm honored and delighted to hand him the mic so that he can conduct the very, very responsible task of handing out the awards at this ceremony. Mr. Amitabh Pathak.
You have to log out from one device.
You have logged in from two, so there will be a noise. You'll have to quit. Yes.
It's better, yeah. Surprise of surprise, suddenly I found that the video is not working. So I was all set for the other machine. So. All right. So after some, very engaging and serious session, we come to the awards ceremony, and I'm very excited to talk about it. In the 10 entities of XENA, we have 6 for non-profit and 4 profit organizations. We had a series of activities through this year. Weekly talks and workshops, they continued on through the year. We engaged with various guests and explored on possibilities with them. We exploited our internal strength as well, had various presentations from our internal experts to evaluate if one or more of those skills could be used in profit or non-profit activities. We spent time in ideations, and we also had at least 2 physical meetings in spite of pandemic times. So we did well, right? And when we did well, there are lots of members in large numbers showed enthusiasm and participated in these activities wholeheartedly. I thank you all with the bottom of my heart, people who are present and people who could not be present in this ceremony. There are some selected ones who perhaps contributed a little more than others over and beyond. For some, however, it was an opportunity that they grabbed in both hands and helped us view them in action in awe. We could view some of them. There would be others whom we could not view, but they were equally powerful, right? The selection committee had a hard time choosing some members amongst all in each organization whose contribution and effort stood out from the rest. However, they were successful and have selected a few members whose list I now carry. Each of them gets a badge of honor and a certificate for their demonstrated behavior of giving and contributing. Now, being a virtual event, this one, I will take names of these persons one by one within each organization. So first I'll cover the for-profit organization, XENA, starting with XENA World Care Private Limited. So there were 2 persons who has been selected for this badge of honor. First of them is Bela Sanghi. Give her a big round of applause, please. Second in the same organization is Jyoti R. Singh. The XENA Connect LLP also has 2 members who have been selected for the badge of honor. The first is Jayanto Bhattacharya, and the second one is Yogesh Singh. In XENA Global Family LLP, the 2 names who have been selected amongst all are Dr. Pragyan Chakraborty and Dr. Suman Bhattacharya. For XENA World, the 2 names which have been selected are Anoy Mukherjee and Amandhari Sinha. Okay, give all of them a big round of applause. So now we move to the not-for-profit organizations of ours, starting with XENA Gen Next, the organization of the youngsters. So there are 3 names which have been selected. The first of which is Shana Bhattacharya. The second name selected is Sushim Suday. And the third is Arundhati Chakrabarti. Okay, they have done being in the school and in the colleges, they have done a fantastic job through this year, mostly backstage work. XENA Outreach Foundation, there are 4 names which have been selected, starting with Babita Chaudhary. The second name is Dr. Shubhang Singh. Third, Dr. Swati Chandra. And the final name is Mitali Khanna. For XENA Global Family Foundation, the names are Dr. Sanjay Marale, Dr. Daud Salim Faruqi, Jane Shah, Reena Prakash Tyagi, and Dr. Seema Jha. For XENA World Care Foundation, the names which has come out and selected are Chetan Gaglani, Bala Raju, Deepika Bagchi, and Tanaz Patel Supariwal. In XENA International Foundation, we have the following persons selected. First, Basudev Mukherjee. Second, Dr. Pradeep Jha. Mr. Manish Agarwal. And Puneet Gaur. For XENA Soul Connect Foundation, the names selected are Kasturi Roy Chaudhary, Meeta Kalluri, Devesh Joshi, and Vishnu Patra. Give all of them a very big round of applause. And with this, I end, the first part of the ceremony, which was to give the the badge of honors to all these guys. Heartiest congratulations to each one of you, and all the best for the next year. Thank you. Yeah, the next set of award would be given by Joydeep Sengupta.
So thank you. In the next set of awards, maybe I'll start. There are about 17 awards, and each of these awards are individual and selected for the special contribution to XENA activities through the year. And I'll probably announce them in turn, one by one. The first award is to Sushim Sude, I think as a Whiz Kid of the Year, Junior Whiz Kid of the Year, for your outstanding contributions. So many congratulations. It's terrific.
Can we have his video on? Sushim, you are very much there. Sushim. Where is he? Okay, Sushim.
Maybe you'd like to say something, Sushim.
No, sir.
Many congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
The second award is really for the IT Wizard Award. And this award goes to Colonel Nishant Singh for his outstanding contributions, particularly for making sure that he's made a real difference this year in that spirit. So I don't know if he's here, but let's give him a round of applause as well. The third award is to Ms. Priyanka Manjari, and this award is for as a wizard of PR skills. Priyanka, we see you on the screen, so many congratulations. And if you'd like to say something, please do.
Thank you so much, everyone, for considering me for this award. I'm really grateful to Mr. Rajiva and the entire XENA family. Thank you so much.
The next award, also who's present with us, is Shibani Shatpati Das, for being the most active participant. And again, if you wouldn't mind putting on your video and saying a few words, that would be terrific. So many congratulations. Would you like to say a few words?
No, no.
So
Shivani,
thank you
your
so
video.
much.
Shivani, put
Thank
on
you
your
so
video.
much.
We
The
want to
next,
see. Okay.
the next award is to Vivek Saxena for his outstanding contribution as an innovative ideator through this project. And I don't know if he's here, but a big round of applause for him. The next award is for someone who is contribution is termed as bubbly and restless, so really being the soul of the family, and this goes to Shana Bhattacharya. Again, I'm just trying to see if she's here, but if not, let's give her a round of applause. The next award for being the most promising contributor, this award goes to Arundhati Chakraborty. We can see you here, so many congratulations. And if you'd like to say something, please do.
Thank you so much for the award. I'm really honored and much more grateful to be part of the family.
Wonderful. The next award goes to the person who's most creative and artistic. And this award, of course, goes to none other than Mr. Amitabh Pathak. So many congratulations to you. And if you'd like to say a few words.
Unmute yourself.
Thank you so much, Zena family. It has been a topsy-turvy and very exciting ride, and a lot of late working night outs and arguments and meetings, and so good. Thank you so much. Thank you for acknowledging.
Thank you. The next award is the All-Rounder Award, and this award goes to Ms. Nisha Samuel. So let's give her a round of applause. This award is a very special award. It is titled The Wizard of Written Communication and More. And this award goes to Professor Vinay Pandey. So many congratulations to you. And again, I'm sure you would like to say a few words.
Well, all I can say is a big thank you to XENA family, and a special thanks to Mr. Rajiv Anand sir, who has brought me in here. Once again, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Excellent. The next award, I can see her name here, and I certainly think that given the nature of the award, she must say a few things. This is for the most eloquent one, and the award is for Dr. Poonam Arora. So many congratulations to her. There you are. Many congratulations. Since you have the award for the most eloquent one, we would certainly expect a few words from you.
I don't think that person emceeing the ceremony should get an award. It's an honor and a pleasure to MC this event and to be an active participant here. As many of you know, I've only been in India for a few years, 2 plus years. And XENA has given me a home and a place to channel my energies. It's not easy to re-enter a society and find a foothold. I have found the work challenging, stimulating most of all. There are moments when I'm frustrated and pull my hair out and give a few nasty words to Rajiv. We speak almost daily, and most of the time our conversations are very, very constructive. It's a very healthy dialectical relationship of people coming together, not one point of view prevailing over the other, but many heads coming together. I have found the organization to be very democratic and very respectful. And again, I am truly honored to just be a member. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. The next award, it goes to the person who is the Master of Organization Skills Award. And this goes to Dr. Nandita Sethi. So many congratulations to you.
Thank you. And Rajiv ji said you should have your certificate ready. So I'm the only one, I guess, who got this printed and kept it ready, following it to the T. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being a part of the family. It's given me connects with so many wonderful people, all of you. And some of you are not here, and so these connects have really been something which has given me a platform to share my opinion, what I think about, and feel a part of, so much a part of the family. Thank you all so much.
Thank you and congratulations again. The next award is a couples award as the couple members, and this award goes to Colonel V.D. Singh and Shivani Singh. So big round of applause for them for participating together as a couple and contributing through this process. The next award is a very interesting award. It's for the outstanding contribution as a culinary wizard. And this award goes to Tathagata Dhruv. So I don't see him here, but many congratulations to him. The next award, again, I find this a very interesting award, and it goes to what is termed the Curious Cat Award. So curiosity is obviously a very important trait, and this goes to Sanjay Prasad. So again, a round of applause for him. I've come to the last two awards. The first award is for the recognition as an outstanding contribution, and this award is called the Miss Google Award. And this goes to Mohana Chattopadhyay. And finally, I come to the last award, and this award is for someone who is termed Miss Persuasive. And this award is awarded to Fatima Khanam for her outstanding contributions through the year. So with that, I come to the end of the awards, and I hand it back, I guess, to the MC, Dr. Poonam Arora.
Thank you. I had just enough time to make myself a cup of tea, which I badly needed. I'm back on track. I would like to request Mr. Neeraj Yajnik to give a vote of thanks. He's going to do this in Hindi, I'm told. A gesture and a ritual we are going to adopt more and more to fulfill our commitment to multilingualism, not just in as a gesture, but genuinely mean it. All thinking people in India, all active people in India have to break out of the shackles of our dependence on English. And I say this as a professor of English, the irony is not lost on me. But if we are to become a self-determining society, then we have to respect our languages, and we have to be able to communicate in multiple languages. As you can see, I am trying my very best to strengthen my Hindi, which is hard because for 35 years in the US, I didn't speak any Hindi at all. So what little Hindi I had is very rusty, but please accept that this is a very serious commitment on our part, because more than anything else in our alternative education, in our national education policy, in our other endeavors, we have to be able to cultivate the strategies, the technologies of simultaneous translation. So if somebody speaks in Hindi, that does not mean that we are ignoring somebody who speaks Tamil or does not understand Hindi at all, or Kashmiri that neither the North nor the South acknowledges or understands. So in addition to our commitment to multilingualism, we must insist on technologies of simultaneous translation. I hope that this will be possible in the years to come. And with that, I want to hand over to Mr. Neeraj Yajnik.
Thank you, Dr. Arora. Thank you very much for the entire thing. It's been a great evening. Long, but yes, definitely very, very useful and something to look back upon for the entire year, for which we are thanking so many people here. But for this function to begin with, Jaggi Saab for his very insightful welcome address, which would, and of course for Dr. Poonam Arora for the emceeing the entire program. But to start with, the way the first session was handled, that was in fact fantastic. Of course, Priyanka Manjari Didi and Dr. Nautiyal for taking up the technical sides of the issue. In the session 2, we had excellent talks by all the persons who really have been at the forefront of the work by the Arundhati Didi, Mohana Didi, Dr. Vinay Pandey, Dr. Sethi, and then Fatima Didi, Mr. Shantanu Basu, Mr. Anil Kumar. And the award presentation was handled so gracefully. I mean, it is the person getting the award is not just getting an award, but carrying back a feeling of appreciation, which is entirely due to the way the awards were presented by Mr. Pathak and Mr. Sedgupta, that one cannot thank them enough. And finally, the way this entire work has been handled by Mr. Rajiv Anand, one must thank him. The way he has carried forward this organization and sustained it during this very bad year with the help of technology, but yes, with the spirit that has been moving the moving force for all the 10 entities. So there is, I would say that words are not enough to describe the kind of work he has been doing. Completely unconnected people, how they're getting connected, and the very idea, how to connect people who are actually unconnected, but they are connected only because of their spirit and their inner motivation and their drive to do something for the rest of the people and for the pain points of the society, which is a very good catchphrase he has found and being using to great effect. I look forward to the ghazal by Ambassador Tripathi and Meena Tilakraj. With that, I say once again, thanks to everybody who has made this function a success. Of course, we know who has made the entire year a success. All of us have been part of that. And again, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm going to revert to our whiz kid, Sushim. Would you please be so kind as to play the XENA anthem now?
Yes, ma'am.
सदस्य जीनत है जीना परिवार हमारा, चारों ओर खुशी फैलाने का है अपना नारा। हम सदस्य जीनत है जीना परिवार हमारा, चारों ओर खुशी फैलाने का है अपना नारा। कष्ट गरीबी दुख हरने का हम संकल्प उठाएं, धरती को कुटुंब करने के लिए प्रयास बढ़ाएं। कष्ट गरीबी दुख हरने का हम संकल्प उठाएं, धरती को कुटुंब करने के लिए प्रयास बढ़ाएं। हम सदस्य ज़ीना के हैं, ज़ीना परिवार हमारा, चारों ओर खुशी फैलाने का है अपना नारा। सबको रोजी रोटी हो और सबको हो खुशहाली, हो निर्बाध विचार भावना सदा सीखने वाली। सबको रोजी रोटी हो और सबको हो खुशहाली, हो निर्बाध विचार भावना सदा सीखने वाली। हम सदस्य ज़ीना के हैं, ज़ीना परिवार हमारा, चारों ओर खुशी फैलाने का है अपना नारा। दया क्षमा नैतिकता हो और हो सम्मान सभी का, सबको यूं अपना माने के दिल ना दुखे किसी का। दया क्षमा नैतिकता हो और हो सम्मान सभी का, सबको यूं अपना माने के दिल ना दुखे किसी का। हम सदस्य जीना के हैं, जीना परिवार हमारा, चारों ओर खुशी फैलाने का है अपना नारा। हम सदस्य जीना के हैं, जीना परिवार हमारा, चारों ओर खुशी फैलाने का है अपना नारा।
And last but not least, I want to call on my sister, Study Pena, Ina Tilakraj, to see Auji, to see Sanu, Alvida Kendi, Avsar Diyo.
Thank you so much for the grand welcome that I got from you all. Thank you.
You're on mute. You're on mute. You are on mute.
Is my voice audible now?
Yeah, now it's audible.
I can't see all. Hello?
We can see
you. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Perfect.
Yes, yes.
Okay. What I would like to say is, first of all, my regrets that I could not join the whole program because I had another program going and I had to, and that today was the last day. It's a course that I'm doing. So I had to attend that. But anyway, this is an honor that has been bestowed upon me to come and at least give the closing statement. Let me tell you one thing. Awards मिलना बहुत अच्छा लगता है, बहुत खुशी होती है. You walk 2 inches taller. It feels good. लेकिन award जब मिलता है ना, so it becomes a huge responsibility. The responsibility is to work even better, to work even more, to do a lot more, to stretch your limits. That is what an award does. Award is not a full stop. It's a comma. Or rather, I should say, it's the beginning of the story, getting an award. Deserving that award, feeling the gratitude, and with that, taking it ahead and proving it right. That is what one has to do. And to sum it all up, I will sum it up in 2 lines. काम कुछ ऐसा कर लो, काम कुछ ऐसा कर लो कि नाम हो जाए, और नाम अगर हो तो ऐसा हो कि नाम लेने से काम बन जाए. That is what one has to do. I hope that makes it very clear. I really thank Zena and all the others, the team who has organized this for the awardees. I'm sure they must be feeling very, very, what should I say, overwhelmed and very happy that their services, their work has been recognized. But please move ahead. And I wish you all such an abundant, joyful, healthy, and progressive new year. That is all that I can say. Thank you very much.
Dhanyavad, Shukriya. Thank you for all for attending, gracing this event and making it so amazingly wonderful, clear, profound, and forward. Good night.
Thank you very much. March ahead. May Zena march ahead and may the Zenaites march ahead.